You're watching the Sunoco Minor League Cricket Championship, brought to you by our 2023 partners.
Signal to when I'm ready.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Prairie View, Texas. We're here back at PVCC 6, where we had the battle for Texas. Now, we get even more specific. The battle for Atlanta, with the Atlanta Fire and the Atlanta Lightning, the top two teams in the Southern Division from this 2023 season. Remember, the Atlanta Fire, they won the Atlantic Conference in 2022. The Lightning, their first playoff berth. They won the toss. They chose to bat first. And Cornet drives a shout straight away, given straight away. Mark Parchment goes. It was just getting ready to say how vital he is to the side, but Cornet Dry does what Cornet Dry does best. Take wickets early, and he's got one on the very first delivery.
When you're starting to take wickets before the second commentator is even ready, you know that's a good sign. Full and straight, the big fast bowler knocks one over from the very first ball of the innings. My goodness, what a start here for the Atlanta Fire.
A dream start there for Cornet Dry. Mark Parchment was such a big factor for this Lightning side. The leading run scorer with 234 on the season, and a 50 to his name as well. He took a lot of pressure off of Unmuk Chand in their wins. The Lightning, I was getting ready to mention, they've only lost one game this season. Evidently, they lost it to the Atlanta Fire after beating them handily. Pressure put straight back on them. With that initial wicket of Mark Parchment, it'll bring out Sagar Patel. These are two sides that would know each other well, seeing each other across the two seasons. Couple different makeups for the side with Mukjan, the captain now, but Cornet Dry, the captain in 2021, gave it up to Aaron Jones in 22. Strikes straight away. He's such a premier pace bowler in minor league. That's why he was selected by the Los Angeles Knight Riders and why he played in every game there. Sagar Patel now, he'll have bat in hand. He's the third leading run scorer with 151. Strikes it at around 100. Likes to take his time to get going. A 50 to his name as well. Again, now having to come in very, very early. Sagar Patel is someone who's played for both Atlanta sides, the Fire in 2021, then made a move over to the Atlanta Lightning in 2022. Back to that side in 2023. In for the second delivery of the innings after a dream start for Cornet Dry and the Fire. Run straight to Aaron Jones. There's a cry and catch it, and Aaron Jones, the captain of the Atlanta Fire, right there, and is always so active in the field, so good, safe hands, and the USA vice captain as well. He was someone who was such a star in the playoffs last year in Mooresville.
Tremendous start by Cornet Dry. Exactly where you want that ball as a fast bowler. On off stump, just outside the line of off stump.
This one was in the air for a moment, away from the fielders, but you mentioned it. It's a dream start for Cornet Dry, right where the pace bowler would want to be.
First delivery, of course, full and straight, bang on target, takes a wicket with that first delivery. The next couple are on the off stump line, maybe just outside the line of off. And that's when you have the pace of a Cornet Dry, and when you are as tall as he is, somewhere around 6'5", you can threaten in a number of different ways. The fuller delivery is difficult to play, and then the shorter ones from that height gives you that awkward bounce. Really difficult bowler to face.
This one beats the outside edge of Sagar Patel. This is good. Very, very good. Jamar Hamilton, he's pumped behind the stumps. One of the most expressive, animated guys you'd see there. But Cornet Dry getting off to a good start was so important for the Fire because they're without Atinda Subramanian in today's game. Not a part of the side. They bring in Jay Patak. And Subramanian, we know his exploits with the ball, one of the leading wicket takers in 21. And it's been so good in 23 with ball in hand. 7 wickets in 8 innings and an economy rate under 8. Cornet Dry so far, not giving an inch, on the verge of a wicket maiden to open things up here in the Atlantic Conference Super Fours.
Boy, this is how you put a team on the back foot that has chosen to bat first. The best way to make them sort of think twice about that decision is to take quick wickets up top and make it difficult for scoring to happen. Corner Dry accomplishing both with that start with the ball.
Minor delivery in to Sagar Patel. Umlukchand has watched the carnage unfold at the non-striker's end. Oh. You'll see another dot ball pass. A wicket maiden to start off proceedings for the Atlanta Fire. None for one.
What's up, Doug? What got into you?
At Sunoco, we know how to fuel peak performance. Fuel your best.
Unmukchand, that man on your screen, Brian Walters. Unmukchand, coming into the season, was the leading run scorer in all of minor league cricket. Made the move from the Silicon Valley Strikers, of where he was the captain, won the inaugural season with them. Now with the Atlanta Lightning, hasn't found the full flow of runs in his usual way, but has been good as of late. We'll start off facing Amarillo Alonso, left arm spin.
Unmukchand, one of the more exciting players historically in the league, as you mentioned. This year hasn't had the results that he ordinarily would have, but still very dangerous with bat in hand. Amarillo Alonso is going to have to be careful here.
Yeah, and again, interesting to see spin this early, and I think it's to the fact that you just don't want to give Unmukchand the width, and Amarillo Alonso does that so well. He's quick through the air, but he's someone who keeps everything around stumps, doesn't give you an opportunity to free your hands, so he just keeps all the variables in question straight away. And both these two, Chand and Sagar Patel, brilliant through the covers, and so they're keeping them playing straight down the ground.
Back to the point we were just making about Unmukchand, 164 runs for the season in 9 games with an average of 23, strike rate of 115. So you'd expect that the typical Unmukchand season would have more impressive numbers than that. So he hasn't had the returns this year, but again, still very dangerous. Oh!
Sagar Patel goes down the ground. Stephen Taylor without a chance at it. And that one ends up going all the way for 6. We're just mentioning how Alonso doesn't give you the opportunity to free your hands. Well, Sagar Patel took the license that time.
Well, getting this one just a touch too full. And anytime you have the batter be able to play through the line, play a big shot like that without having to move his feet, it tells you that that ball was too full, essentially landing in the slot and taken full toll of by Sagar Patel.
This one ticked into the leg side. Quick single, gotten. Good running that from Chanda Patel.
Yeah, and, you know, he started out with in fact, here we see the 6 again. Yeah, right in the slot and lofted down the ground. Just for a split second there, I thought you and I might have some fielding to do, man. But Amarillo Alonso is going to know, and he has made the adjustment. The last couple of deliveries have been much shorter and pushed through a little bit more quickly. So that's the adjustment that you'd expect from a good bowler who knows that he's just been taken downtown.
And closes things off with the dot ball. 8 runs coming from the second over, 8 for the loss of 1. Cornet Dry in for his second over. Helped into the leg side. What a shot this from Sagar Patel. Takes one of the dugouts on its way. 6 through mid-wicket.
Oh my goodness. Slanting in from over the wicket. That was slanting and would have missed the stumps. So essentially it becomes a free hit from that line and then down to the perfect length for Corner Dry to have that one drift into the pads and helped well over the top of mid wicket for a big six. The first time that lands is on the roof of the dugout at deep mid wicket. So a positive start here by Sagar Patel. 13 from 8 with 2 sixes.
Brilliant start for Patel, and this is going to be key for the Fire. You want Cornet Dry to be effective because there's no Jeremy Gordon, who has typically opened the innings with the ball in hand. Know what the innings would remain in. You're down two of your better pacers, so you're going to need overs elsewhere. Cornet has to be precise. This time, unable to play that same shot, and Umukchand will come through for the single as a beat the man in slips, Stephen Taylor.
Split second, I thought that that might have been a leg by, but no leg by signaled by umpire Samir Bandekar. Samir Bandekar operating at the forest end as the umpire today, and the umpire at the highway end is Colin Edwards. Repeat performance from this morning.
And now Umukchand will get his first look at Cornet Dry. Saw the whole first over, the non-striker's end. Beats the outside edge there, and again, 1-1 in their matchups this season, the Fire and the Lightning. In the game that the Lightning won, they won pretty handily, thanks to Jesse Bhutan and Junaid Siddiqui. And then for the Atlanta Fire, they came back and able to win a pulse pounder.
It becomes so razor thin, the margin of error, because that delivery was similar to the one that was hit for 6, but it was on a better line.
This one through the offside. Umukchand frees his hands and picks up some runs of his own, 4 of them.
Yeah, I started mentioning how close the margins for error are. And this one just a little too wide by Cornet Dry, overcorrecting. And in fact, have to give Umukchand credit. Missed it live, but he actually skipped down the wicket to get to the pitch of that ball. Not quite a half volley, but able to get enough of it to get it over the offside and running away for 4. So a little bit of a fight back, wanting to get back into the conversation, wrest the initiative away from the Atlanta Fire.
Short, pulled, cries of catch it. Slow to react and doesn't get there. Unable to take it. It's Obis Pinar at backward square. That's a chance that's gone begging.
Oh, it stayed in the air for a really long time. Obis Pinar, one of the safest pair of hands in the outfield. In a match in a tournament earlier this season, took a hat trick of catches in the outfield, which was pretty amazing. But on this occasion, not quite getting there. Maybe that ball landing a foot or so in front of Obis Pinar.
Goes short again. This time it's a wide.
Yeah, it's a wide because of the line. I don't think the height was much in question. That would have only been bouncing about shoulder height. But the line was down the leg side. So Cornet Dry with a wicket made in his first over, a little bit more expensive so far, and this his second over. He's already conceded 13 runs from the over with 1 ball to come.
And this time beats the outside edge of Sagar Patel. Jamar Hamilton checking Patel to be in his crease as well. That'll close out the third over, 21 for 1. Venukalian Maluredi, and with the ball in hand. Starts off full and straight to Unmukchand, and again, Maluredi hasn't been used much for the Atlanta Fire, but without Jeremy Gordon, without a Tindris Romanian, they're going to rely on his exploits with ball in hand.
Oh, his right arm, fast bowler, not as quick maybe as a corner dry. So he's going to have to be accurate. We're still inside the power play, only 3.1 overs bowled so far, so that line and length has to be spot on. That's not what I meant.
Not at all, Brian. That's helped brilliantly over the offside. Going to be 6 over covers. Was given the width and was never going to miss out, Unmukchand.
You present width to a batter of Unmukchand's capability. Very far outside the line of off stump. No one in the deep on the offside. That is meat and drinks to a batter of Unmukchand's capability.
It's a good start here for Unmukchand after what they saw. And this is something that's in the DNA of the Atlanta Lightning. I was down in Atlanta for a couple of weekends and batting on a surface that a lot of teams were complaining about and thinking it's low scoring surface. I talked to the Lightning coach and he said that we left runs out there when talking about the wicket. This is a team that doesn't really make excuses about the playing conditions, just feels they have to go out there and execute. And that's the reason why they top the Southern Division and why they're in the playoffs for the first time in team history.
Well, admittedly, I haven't seen a lot of them this year myself, but they just appear to be a solidly stacked side. Just from the naked eye, look like sort of they know what they're doing. And it's going to be interesting to see what this match does in terms of being able to enhance that capability.
Missed out on it. Was looking to go over the top of the leg side, and Jamar Hamilton's still asking the questions. Again, if I wish we could just have like a GoPro facing out, a 360 cam on Jamar Hamilton for the entire game, and just have that stream in the corner for you, because he is the most entertaining man behind the stumps that we have in minor league cricket.
What's funny about that to me, you appeal to the umpire calling out when it says not out, then he appeals to his first slip field. So I'm not exactly sure what first slip was supposed to do in that instance, but yes, I completely take your point. Very entertaining. Played a couple of test matches as keeper for the West Indies, so a really high-class keeper.
Better in line here from Maluredi. After giving that width early, he's come back well. Couple four dot balls to accompany that 6. So he's responded really well after that initial boundary.
Yeah, so once again, we're inside the power play. So you cannot afford to bowl anything wide. In fact, there's a fielder sweeper out there now. So if you do bowl it wide, there's some protection there.
Bit of width, edge, taken. And that's the end of Unmukchand. He's just trying to run it down and made it look so easy. I believe that's Jay Pathak standing there, who's just taking the catch.
That is indeed Jay Pathak to his left, but head height, a comfortable height. Unmukchand looking to force that one square and peels off the outside edge and straight to Jay Pathak at backward point. He swallows it gleefully. Big wicket, the end of Unmukchand with the bat for the day. 27 for 2 at the end of 4.
Well, the Atlanta Fire have gotten off to a dream start here taking 2 wickets, and it's both the opening batters. Saw the end of Unmukchan, saw the end of Mark Parchment. On away from Jay Pathak in favor of Emilio Alponzo.
Samil Alfonso, generally very good, a very accurate bowler. Got one too full and got driven down the ground for 6. His first over was from this end, the southern end of the ground, the highway end. Now switching around and bowling from the forest end. And the wind, interestingly, has switched directions because this morning it was blowing from the north. It's now coming from over our shoulder, coming from the south. So any ball elevated in the air from this end is going to carry, is going to be helped by the wind. So something to pay attention to there.
Sagar Patel hit a 6, hit a 4. Bold, bold. Emilio Alfonso gets through, looking to take another one downtown. Instead, he opens the stumps and Emilio Alfonso lights it up. And the Fire, they've got wicket number 3.
Wow. So wanting to jump right on top of Emilio Alfonso, you'd already taken him downtown for a big 6 and wanting to repeat the dosage, but committing the cardinal sin of playing across a straight ball. That ball should have been played in the V. Looking to play it over mid-wicket was Sagar Patel, going across that ball, missing, and you miss, I hit stuff from Emilio Alfonso. Good delivery. All of a sudden, the Atlanta Lightning are struggling. They're 27 for 3.
And that's a shot of liking for Sagar Patel. He loves that sweep, and that's why Emilio Alfonso just stayed on middle stump and opens it up. And there you go, the end of Sagar Patel. The top order has come, they've gone, and quite the opposite of what we saw from the Dallas Mustangs.
Yep.
Opening batter gets out, and Noman Anwar, 2 and 3 do the job. Right now, 1, 2, 3 all sitting in the dugout and leaving stuff for the middle order as Cassius Burton walks into the middle.
Wow. So this is going to be tricky because you've lost the wickets early. You chose to bat. Remember, again, the Atlanta Lightning won the toss and chose to bat. When you choose to bat, what you're saying and the message you're sending is that we're confident enough in our batting ability to put a big score on the board and then make you play from behind. And when you've won the toss, chosen to bat, and then lose 3 inside the power play, in fact, another over and 5 balls remaining inside the power play, essentially you've made yourself be on the back foot, and now you're going to be struggling because this is a good start to the over by Emilio Alfonso, who is a top-class bowler, good enough bowler to bowl as a finger spinner inside the power play. So you've essentially mortgaged your own situation by having lost those quick wickets. So and look at this, the pressure being applied now by the Atlanta Fire. There is now a forward short leg. How many times have you ever seen a forward short leg in a T20 with a mid-wicket at the same time? So going fully on the attack, this is going to be interesting to watch.
Yeah, Aaron Jones, a very attacking captain. He's put Lendl Simmons, told him get the helmet on. As we see the former Jamaican under-19 Berton on strike. And again, a slip. That short leg you were mentioning.
Wow.
The Atlanta Fire, they're going in for the kill.
Yes.
And maybe even daring Berton to go big straight away to try to ease this field and open up his stumps as well. Just defends it away. Sensible cricket from Berton.
Well, Cassius Burton looks to get onto the front foot. You don't mind that. But if you get something short, you want to watch to see, like, that type of a delivery is one where I'd want to see him take on that area to mid-wicket to make Aaron Jones think twice about having that forward short leg in place. And you can't sort of give in to the pressure. From that standpoint, you're helping them apply the pressure to you. So if you get a loose ball, a ball that is loose in any way, those are the kinds that you have to kind of catch in on.
Now an interesting battle for Mario King. He's got bat in hand. He's just seen his partners go. And I'll have to deal with Emilio Alponza, who's so highly touted in minor league cricket, was a late acquisition by the San Francisco Unicorns in Major League Cricket. Thought he should have gotten a game, but he was part of that setup, and he's come back. Hard to say an improved bowler, but an improved bowler. And with the bat as well, this one, very nearly another wicket.
Those are the kind that you usually see stick. And he's too close to make a reflex catch, but it goes right into his midriff. Sometimes you see those stick. I'd want to see a replay on that to make sure, but that went straight in and then straight back out.
This one just fended short of that fielder there. What an over we're having. What a display from the Atlanta Fire. 5 overs gone, 28 for 3.
वक्त आ गया है लक्ष्मी बासमती राइस को घर लाने का।
लक्ष्मी एक्स्ट्रा लॉन्ग बासमती राइस। इसका हर दाना हो इतना लंबा, पकते हुए महके और प्लेट पे क्या खूब खिले।
हाँ, मेरे घर लाने का।
Motheredi back in with the ball in hand, and again, it's really a dream start if you're the Atlanta Fire without your 2 strike bowlers, Gordon and Supermanian, to get those wickets early, to take pressure off of someone like Motheredi. Yes, he picked up the wicket of Chand, but now he's really got a free license to bowl the way he wants to bowl.
So bowling now the last over inside the power play. Feel relatively spread out, not quite as aggressive as in the last over.
This one's pushed into the offside. Should be a couple of runs racing towards the boundary. Rishi Pandey, keep it to just a couple.
That's what you want to do if you're Burton. You want to just push the ball into the gaps and run, pick up singles. Maybe, you're on the back foot having lost 3 wickets inside the power play, and you know that after the power play is ended, scoring might come a little bit more easily. But for this stage of the innings, all you're looking to do is just get bat to ball and find ways where you can pick up those singles.
And this is important for the Atlanta Fire. When we talk about their batting lineup, they haven't really found that consistency that they had in 2022. But this here from Burton in any year, either 1922 or 2023, it's classic.
My goodness. Classical straight drive, high raised front elbow, and that ball racing, splitting the gap between mid-on and mid-off. Look at this. There. Lovely, lovely high front elbow, and that ball bullet towards the straight boundary for 4.
Brilliant that from Burton, and this is what he's added to this middle order. Well, hasn't been here all season long. He's come in later in the year, and this is what he allows you to have. Someone who can come in, steady the ship, and set the game up for your bigger hitters. Jesse Bouton, Neve McNally. Those are the guys who can really tee off. And then you also talk about Junaid Siddiqui to come after that. So there's plenty of big bats. You just got to hold them off for the right moments.
Yep. It's a better length. So this type of ball is the one that is difficult to attack. So really, sometimes we overcomplicate bowling. Sometimes it's about putting the ball on a good line, on a good length, and then forcing the batting side to do something to score runs. And it's the type of delivery, that one you just saw, where you just essentially need to establish a stock ball. And that's what I'd want to see from Motheredi.
Good delivery this. Again, pack of a length, climbing the tall man, and Motheredi. Not much action in the 2023 Sunoco Minor League Cricket Championship, but he's proving that he can do the job when he's called upon. And important overs early on when you have the likes of Stephen Taylor and Obis Pinar to turn to. Nasser Hussain still will get some overs with a spin. Outside edge, away from everybody. It'll race to the boundary for 4. Third man inside the ring. A bit of luck, but you'll take that if you're Cassius Berton.
You absolutely take that luck. Peeling off the outside edge, looking to hit that over extra cover probably. Here we see, yeah, in fact, looking to hit it straight. Genuine outside edge, but because of the fact that deep short third is inside the circle, that ball racing away down to deep third for 4.
It's a good close to the power play for the Lightning. After those loss of wickets, they've gotten 10 runs from the over. The delivery to go now. Berton has come in and he's steadied the ship, 11 from 7. And again, if you can just hold on to one end and keep runs flowing, you can just set the game up. This is a Lightning team that doesn't panic. They trust themselves, and you would fancy their bowling with the likes of a funny Samhadri, still part of that side, leading wicket taker in 2022. He can be so effective. His economy rate under 6. If he got an opportunity with runs on the board, you fancy that Lightning team to defend any total.
Well, the formula is for this pair to stay there for a while. This pair stays there, let's say, through the 10th over. Then the big hitters down the lineup can come in and do damage because they can play more freely. A wicket here puts you probably a little prematurely into the lower middle order, which is probably not consistent with what you'd want to be able to put up a big target. But you still have to go through the disciplines, and as a bowling side, the Fire are going to have to be very careful here.
No run on offer to close out the power play. Good over to end it for the Lightning, but it's one that belongs to the Atlanta Fire. 38 for 30. Jay Pathak will get ball in hand. And Brian, this Atlanta Fire team is one that's loaded with spin. Aaron Jones, Obis Pinar, Steven Taylor, and Nasir Hussain. But so far, just the one spinner used in the middle of pond zone. They've used Modi Reddy and Jay Pathak early. Do you think this is just because of the surface? You think it's a matchup thing? What do you think is the reason why they're holding their spinners back for right now?
There has not been much turn on offer. We saw from the game this morning, only 1 or 2 balls really turned as Jay Pathak into the attack. No pun intended. But I think with the quality of the spinners that you have, they're good, but they'd be helped or they'd be better on a more helpful wicket. I don't think that there's a whole lot of turn on offer. And if you have seam bowlers or pacers who are able to handle the bowling inside the power play, I don't have a big issue with them holding off on the spinners until you get clear of the power play.
Yeah, just be curious to see. The wicket is not allowing for much turn. How many spinners and when they're used, because that's really the Fire's strength. You feel that their ability to use different spinners at different times for different situations. Emilio Ponzo use more up front and towards the death. Nasser Hussain usually used in this situation. First over after the power play, comes in, slows things down. Obis Pinar will get used here and there, and Steven Taylor in a similar manner as Nasser Hussain. But with this surface, that's just, there's no turn on offer. How many of those guys are being utilized today, to me, is the biggest question.
Very interesting. So a bit of uneven bounce. That ball bounced a lot higher than he was expecting it from Jay Pathak. The ball was almost quite driving length, but after it bounced, it kicked up and maybe took him maybe on the thigh pad, somewhere around there. So King, who's been there for 6 deliveries, has not yet scored any runs. And I think to some extent still trying to read the pitch. The pitch, for the most part, has behaved like you'd expect. But every once in a while, one of them will kick. And I think that's what you just saw. Just trying to have a good hard look here, King, and making sure that he can understand exactly what this pitch is or how this pitch is playing.
And Jay Pathak, not someone who bowls too often, but is doing so in the absence of Nathan Dusubramanian. Quick run taken, trying to get King his first runs, and they do get him his. And that'll probably ease the young man's mind that, okay, I have a run on the board. I can't get ducked out here. Maybe just allow him to play a little bit more freely.
Regardless of what level of cricket you play, you always want to have a number other than 0 against your name. And so Burton, Cassius Burton, who's been there not quite as long, came in at the fall of the second wicket, but has already been, scored 11 from 8 and appears to be the more enterprising of this pair so far.
Nicely played through the covers. Thinking about 2 and sent back is Romeo King. And then Berton wanted it late, but I like what I just saw from Jamar Hamilton. Comes up to the stumps when Berton comes to strike, and with Jay Pathak, not express pace. And if you keep the batters rooted, having to deal with it on the off the surface, just creates problems for the batters. We saw it with the Mustangs, and when they went out to bowl, similar things being done by the Lone Star Athletics as well in Cheyenne Jahangir.
Very similar. Now it's interesting to see Jay Pathak now looking to close out this over without any more damage.
No run on offer for the Atlanta Lightning. Good way to close out the 7th over, 40 for 3. Well, we mentioned when are we going to see the spin straight away. Obis Pinar being brought into the attack. We're going to get to see his left arm exploits into the big, tall Cassius Berton.
Well, the big, tall Cassius Berton and the big, tall Obis Pinar. If you saw him warming up, you'd think he was a pace bowler. But very effective spinner, left arm spinner, and gets good bounce from his height.
One down the ground, and the Atlanta Fire can just pick up another wicket here and try to get McNally or Bhutan out there earlier. They know that they'd be in a better spot, because in the back of their mind, they're going to think about what Bhutan and Siddiqui did chasing down a total against them just a couple weeks ago. So they know they need to get one wicket here, break this partnership, and get to those guys as early as you can.
Teasing him with that one, just tossing it up a little bit, asking the question. And I don't think that that's a bad idea. With King still scratching around 1 from 9, just try to make him think twice with that ball above his eye line. It's good thinking.
That one rushes through. Somehow it's missed the top of the stumps. Be a couple of runs out to fine leg off an under edge, but good changeup from Obis. He went too slower, fuller. This time went quick on a length and just evades the stumps.
Wow, that's a good delivery. And again, good bowling, good thinking by Obis Pinar, tossing one up and then pushing one through at pace. So just changing, giving these batters something to think about, particularly King, who so far seems to be scratching around. 3 from 10 for him.
He'll pick up a single down the ground, gives him another run there, but you know, Obis tossing it up a little bit more than you've seen. I think it's because of the fact that This is a surface, so there's not a lot of turn on offer. And with two relatively new bats who need to score runs, it's just attacking the stumps, daring them to play those sweeps and play across the line. Fielders in place in mid-wicket, square leg and long on for those heaves into the leg side. How about this? This was meant to be played on the front foot, somehow fended away on the back off an inside edge.
My goodness, another one pushed through at pace, changing things up here a lot, Oberspinar, and really successful in making these bowlers, or his batters rather, either play early or play late. They're not having the best of times trying to time him, and that's very successful bowling by Oberspinar.
Caps it with the wicket. He went for it, head down from Burton, because he knows you cannot do that. We just mentioned it. He's been flying up, daring that exact shot. King this time says, I'll play it. And Obis says, your stumps are gone. You can head to the dugout.
It was he's slowing it down. That ball came in. It was the arm ball. Lovely bowling. Pitching and cutting into the right-hander. Ordinarily would have expected that to be leaving him, but he does castle. The frustrating innings by King comes to an end. He ends with 4 from 12. That's the end of 8, 45 for 4.
Eight overs are gone. 4 wickets have fallen for the Lightning as Jesse Bouton joins Cassius Burton as Jay Pathak comes in for his second over. Gave up just 2 in his first, and complete domination from the Fire. Kept at bay. This is just, again, you win the toss if you're the Lightning. You choose to bat. Never would you have imagined you're 45 for 4 here in the 9th over.
No, you would not have. And again, there is a simple formula that you follow when you're looking to win the toss and bat. You want your opening batters to take you deep through the power play. Then the top of the middle order comes in, scores at a relatively quick rate, and then the bombers down the order who come in to finish off the inning. So you're looking at something around 160, 170 at a minimum. That formula can no longer be reached. And if you're going to get to a competitive total, you're going to have to do it with these 2 big hitters who are at the wicket, but who are batting probably slightly earlier than they'd be comfortable with. They want to come in playing certainly with a certain amount of freedom. They're not quite able to do it now because they have to mix caution with defense because they do not need to lose any more wickets yet.
No defense that time for Berton. He wanted it. He did see the width, so it was a safer shot.
Yep.
But nearly, very nearly. You mentioned, trying to bat deep early on, and if they were able to put up a total here, I think they could have really tested the Atlanta Fire. This is a side that has not had that opening pair, that top order figured out. They know Aaron Jones is coming at 3 or 4, but they've tried so many different pieces up top. Kennard Lewis is in their top 5 run scores, is no longer part of the side, is now with the New Jersey Somerset Cavaliers. They brought in Lendl Simmons late. There's a chance for the Lightning to test this batting lineup for the Fire. But right now, all that's being tested are the edges and the wickets of the Atlanta Fire, of the Atlanta Lightning batters.
And by the way, it has to be said, the glove work from Jamar Hamilton is beyond reproach. and he's obviously keeping up to the pace bowler, which is difficult in and of itself. But to be able to collect those deliveries and then attempt stumpings at the same time, lightning quick behind the stumps, this is really high class work from Jamar Hamilton.
No run on off for Rishi Pandey. Holds him.
Wow.
Again, Cassius Berton's played 3 or 4 straight to him, but there's been nothing on offer. Jamar Hamilton now having some words, and you mentioned the glove work of Jamar Hamilton. He's someone that people thought would have been taken in the Major League draft and featured. Was not part of a side there, but you can see him more and more so saying, look, I should be a part of one of these Major League sides.
Yep.
Could possibly see him in an MLC jersey next year. And they'll find a run off the very last delivery. Retained strike. Does Cassius Berton. 9 overs gone. 46 for 4. Obis Pinar just gave up 5 runs in his first, took a wicket as well. So he gets a second. We'll start off to Berton, and we'll see how the formula changes. Doesn't quite change, but gets a single straight away to bring Jesse Bouton to strike for the first time today. So we get our first look.
So you would have seen him earlier in the season. My apologies for not having seen him myself, but he's reputed to be a big hitter. What are you expecting from him here?
Well, he's someone who, yes, has that remark of a big hitter, but I saw a lot of maturity in his innings, the way he played it, especially against this fire side. Forget maturity. If you're going to give me that one to hit, I'm going into out. That one's giving 6 over extra cover. How about this? Jesse Bouton finds a 6 straight away.
1 ball, 6 runs. Gave him the width. And when you give him the width, again, almost independent of the situation in the match, that is a hit me ball, and he absolutely cashes in on it, Bouton.
This time looking to go down the leg side, does do it. Finds a run for himself, and Bouton comes in with a high regard. Of course, into the CPL as a part of the St. Lucia Kings. And again, when he had that match-winning innings against the Atlanta Fire, was able to score on a surface that was tough, scored quickly, and was able to get himself 39 really high-quality runs to win that contest. And Cassius Berton's, I think, hurt himself. I think he's hurt himself on the way through. I think he's got his hand, and he turned down Jesse Bouton's run. It looks like he's holding the wrist. Not good signs for the Atlanta Lightning.
So he was looking to run that fine, sort of trying to play that late cut that we talked about earlier. I think that may just have struck him on the base of his thumb, and he always has his thumb wrapped. His left thumb, there you can see, it's already wrapped. So obviously he's carrying some sort of an injury, and I think that ball would have hit the very base or the point of his thumb, and he's holding his wrist, so probably more the wrist, but essentially trying to play that ball late, and it comes off of the wrist or thumb, somewhere in that area, but certainly it would be something that hurts him.
Yeah, we saw Sujit Gowda suffer an injury in the field earlier. He was up and walking around after the game, so it was good to see that.
Yep.
Now, with Cassius Berton, hopefully he's able to continue out there on bad, and we'll see if it hinders his ability to grip and play the shots he wants to play. Always nasty, the wrist. I think it's just, again, a wrist area. If you get hit there, not a lot of padding around that area.
You're
so
exactly
it's
right.
all ball, all seam, coming straight onto that thin area of bone.
And you can make the argument, okay, it's a spinner, so it's not a pacer. But look, a spinner is still bowling at 55, 60 miles an hour. So just at home, just pick up a ball and hit yourself in the hand just from, arm's length. That's about how quickly the ball is coming. And without any padding, it becomes really difficult to not sustain some sort of an injury there.
I just want to say, don't do what Brian Walters said. Don't do it because Brian Walters said it. Now, if you want to test it yourself, that's on you. But don't do it because Brian Walters told you to do that.
In theory.
In theory, we can have that one. But looks like Burton's going to be okay to face this 5th delivery of the over. Looking to go over the offside. He's just found one out in the deep. Obis Pinar has been given a little bit more width in this over compared to the last where he's attacked the stumps. Seems to be more of a calculative change for two guys who like to access the leg side.
It's interesting. So you're asking them to play on the leg side, and that gap between mid-off, make that long off, and sweeper is very pronounced. So that may be where the batters are trying to score.
Looking to run it very, very late. Misses everything on the way through. And that'll close out the 10th over? No, it looks like we'll have a ball to go. One ball left in the over. And still no run on offer. No damage done to the scoreboard. 10 overs gone, 55 for 4.
Took that last corner pretty quick.
Sir, I need one hand on the roof, one hand on the pump.
Timeout for Sunoco Go Rewards.
Keep pumping.
With new Sunoco Go rewards, when you fuel, you save because rewards come first.
Jay Pathak's got ball in hand, 2 overs, just giving up 3 runs.
Oh, amazing.
That'll be a run in and of itself off on a genuine outside edge. He deserves a wicket. Pathak and Jamar Hamilton's doing the right thing as well. Up at the stumps, making the batters play off the surface.
So it may not be too early to start thinking about projected scores. They're currently scoring at 5.51. That projects to 110. You weren't looking at 110 when you chose to bat first. In order to get to 150, you'd need to be going somewhere around 9.5 runs and over from here. 10 and over from here gets you to 154. That's more along the lines of what you'd have been looking for when you chose to bat first. I don't know that that's attainable from here, but that's where they need to be targeting.
Pushed into the leg side. Fetch one here, and this has kind of been a staple of how Bhutan gets himself going. Yes, he can hit the long ball, and if it's there to hit, he's going to swing at it, but it's this part of the game where that ball, play it for 1, and he just plays it for 1. He understands that if it's not the last 5, he doesn't need to hit every ball for 6. Get your team to that spot, and you have hitters beyond yourself that can get the job done. Nicely struck into the covers. Just be a couple of bounces out into the deep. Again, Burton hasn't been going at an express rate, but runs are runs, and in this rebuilding stage, he's been big to keep the Lightning afloat.
Well, Jay Pathak, has to be said, is bowling a really miserly spell. 2.3, none for 6. Hasn't taken any wickets, but I think we said it in the earlier game. T20 is less about wickets and more about being able to control the scoring. So really good effort. Oh, look at that. Good looking sort of late cut again. And another single. So just giving up singles here, Jay Pathak. Excellent bowling at this stage of the innings.
Good bowling indeed. But for the Lightning, it's a good way to keep the runs flowing. Get some singles and save yourself for the back end. Burton, Bhutan, McNally can all come in, hit the long ball, and then remember Junaid Siddiqui. So there's plenty of options to score late. You just have to get people to bat through this phase, bat through the middle periods, and give yourself a chance. Cuts late again, finds a single. Again, accessing runs through third man. Would be curious to see if Jay Pathak maybe tries to get even closer to the batters and dare them to run it down from around the off stump.
Well, that certainly would be the thinking. But what he is doing is building pressure. Because the best way to build pressure is by bowling dot balls. But at this stage of the innings with the big hitters in, you can also build pressure by just conceding singles, because then they get sort of aggressive, wanting to score more than those singles.
There you go, looking to cut late again. This time unable to do it. 11 overs gone, 60 for 4.
वक्त आ गया है लक्ष्मी बासमती राइस को घर लाने का।
लक्ष्मी एक्स्ट्रा लॉन्ग बासमती राइस, इसका हर दाना हो इतना लंबा, पकते हुए महके और प्लेट पे क्या खूब खिले।
हाँ, मेरे घर लाने का।
Milo Aponzo, he's got ball in hand. He's already gotten a wicket to his name. And this is why, because the length and the line in which he bowls, attacking the stumps, making you fetch for it.
That length was perfect. You have Burton reaching forward for that ball. That's exactly the right length that you need to bowl.
That's beat everybody. That one's beat everybody. It's the arm ball that's gone through Jamar Hamilton as well. It'll be 4 off buys. This is some display from Milo Aponzo.
Wow. That is a good delivery. The arm ball, like you said, was expecting it to turn. Oh, in fact, it came in and drifted. I missed this live. Actually beat him on the leg side. Went inside the leg stump. Went between the leg stump and the batter. And Jamar Hamilton, of all people, conceding some buys there.
It's good bowling for the Atlanta Fire. You won't mind giving up those 4 runs. Yes, if you're Jamar Hamilton, you want to take that, but it's still pressure. You have to keep in mind that Milo Aponzo can bring it back in as well and take it away from me. It's just creates that double-mindedness that can get batters in trouble at times. It was in the air for a moment.
It was.
Jamar Hamilton, you heard him say, catch it, Amila. That's you.
It is. I completely agree with your suggestion, and maybe the producers can listen to this. GoPro on top of Jamar Hamilton's head next time, for next year. He's absolutely entertaining.
Even a 360 camera turned just back at Jamar
what?
Hamilton.
That's
that
even
might be the
better.
one. Some of my favorite highlights to watch are just of him just doing his thing, yelling, screaming, dancing around. How about this? He's played it so early there, Jesse Bouton, because he's expected it to come on to him, and it's just slowed up. You can see it there. He's just saying it just never came to me. I was ready to turn my wrist around, and it just never got to me. Good over this from Aponzo. Switch hit. The reverse sweep gets the top edge. It'll fetch 4 runs down through fine leg. Unlucky for Aponzo to end the over, but runs nonetheless for the Atlanta Lightning.
Oh, my goodness. You'll accept these runs any way you get them. Corner drives the fielder in close pursuit, but he was never going to get close to it. And that reverse sweep running away there, just out of reach and over the hill for 4. That is the end of over number 12, 69 for 4.
How about this? Jesse Bouton is just standing and watching this one from Cassius Burton, and just how good that was struck. Jay Pathak has not gone for runs, but this time, Cassius Burton cashes in.
That is the first shot played in anger off of Jay Pathak. And admittedly, it was sort of in the slot. And the line was going down the leg side. So very little risk in that type of shot by Cassius Burton.
And good for Burton as well. Been in for 27 deliveries, is now starting to take the attack to the bowlers. And it's getting to that phase of the innings where they can do that. They're going to want to get up to 150. As this is in the air, just falls short of everybody. Third man was coming around in place, but it was never going to get, never had the wheels to get there.
Yeah, that was one of those, as they say in baseball, seeing eye singles. You drop it right in the exact slot where backward point was not able to get to it, and deep third was too far away from it. So 5 runs from the first 2 deliveries of Jay Pathak's last over. Before this, he'd only conceded 8 runs from his spell.
Slower ball, pummeled straight down the ground. Jesse Bouton says, thank you very much, and I'll fetch myself 4 runs.
Wow. Strike, a brilliant strike right down the ground. There's always room back over the bowler's head. Obviously, you cannot have a fielder directly behind the bowler. So as long as you hit it straight, you'll always have productivity scoring in that area. This one going straight down the ground for 4. So an expensive start to Jay Pathak's last over. Again, before this, he'd only conceded 8 runs from his 3 overs. So far, 9 already from this his last over, with 3 still to come.
That's the 3rd boundary of the over, and that one's bigger and better than the rest. That's 6 through mid-wicket.
Ooh. Again, I think when we see the replay, this line is what the issue is going to be. In fact, no. It has to be said that Bouton walked across his stumps to make it into effectively a ball that was on the legs. Admittedly, it was probably an off-stump line, which is what you want. But that is brilliant by Bouton to walk across his stumps to access the leg side and helping himself to 6 more. So Jay Pathak into the middle of an expensive last over. 15 already from the over, with 2 still to come.
This is the over that the Lightning were looking for. They needed this over to come because now you're talking about an opportunity to get to 150 if you can keep teeing off. And Bouton looks and flow, 23 from 11. And again, this is what he can do. Shuffles around his crease and is able to access scoring pockets all over the ground. It just makes the bowlers have to rethink everything. Good work by Mila Ponzo inside the ring. No runs on offer. Fire are really good in the field, but this is, again, still the over the Lightning needed.
Sure, so the most productive of all the overs in the innings so far. The only other over with anything close to this many runs was over number 3, where 13 runs were scored. Already 15 from this over, with 1 ball still to come.
This time pushed through the offside. We'll fetch 1 to close out the 13th over. A very productive one. 16 coming from it. 85 for 4. Mila Ponzo's bowled 3 overs for 14 runs and taking a wicket, but that man, Jesse Bouton, on your screen, 24 from 13. And he's got the Lightning into position. They can really accelerate on. But this is the danger for Mila Ponzo. Bouton knows there was a run on offer.
it needs to be said that as aggressive as he was in this last over, this first ball, there was no effort whatsoever to be attacking toward Emilio Panzo. So something tells me that they have it in their minds to essentially play this over close to the vest or go downtown for 6, one of the two.
Brian Walters, what were you saying? They're not going to take on Emilio Panzo? After just defending it away, he takes a skip down the track, sends it over to where that car was parked earlier. That person's wisely moved it. But take a look. Down the track, doesn't get near the pitch of the ball, but just meets it on the up. Plenty of power and timing. Gets it all the way for 6 straight back.
So as I was saying, you expect him to attack Emilio Panzo.
That's what I heard, Brian. That's what I heard. Again, looking to just pierce the offside. Bhutan's moved to 30 from just 15 deliveries. Again, that's why he's such an X factor for this team. The 3 guys I had that I thought could change the game with the bat. Thought Parchment, Bhutan, and McNally. Those are the 3, and Bhutan's doing it so far. Pushed into the offside, but straight to that man station to cover. Bhutan's got to do well not to get frustrated, though. You could hear the scream because he thought he should have found runs. Don't do anything rash. There's just 2 balls left of Emilio Panzo. Take on the other bowlers.
That's the point I was halfway trying to make earlier until he made me completely wrong. But it will be easier to attack the other bowlers than it is to attack Emilio Panzo. So with 2 balls remaining in his spell for the day, my sense would be that you would not want to take any risks here.
Oh. No run on offer. This is what the Fire do really well. They're so good in the field. That time it's Stephen Taylor, who's joined the side after the CPL and after his run there. And he would have gone from playing Imran Tahir to coming to this tournament here. So, you know, there's plenty of cricket on offer. We'll have another person from the CPL come join us. Not on the playing field, but in the comm box is Nikhiluttam Chandani will make his way back to minor league cricket as we close out the 14th over, 92 for 4.
What's up, Doug? What got into you?
At Sunoco, we know how to fuel peak performance. Fuel your best.
Obis Pinar now. Left arm spinner replacing the other. Look for the sweep. It's missed. And it's running through. Fine leg. Could be 4. Yeah, it will be. It will be. Unable to use the feet to his full advantage, Nasser Hussain. And ends up being 4 as it dribbles towards the rope.
So he would have wanted to have stopped this. And for a second, you thought he would have been able to get there. This would give us a good look. Running right toward us here. And just there, tried to use his foot. Missed it twice. And then not only did he miss it, almost twisted his ankle stepping on the rope. So really kind of lucky that he didn't get away with that, coming out of that with an injury.
4 runs for the Lightning to start off. Going for the quick single, and they'll get it. It's good running, good attentive running from the 2 men in the middle. This is why the Lightning are so good, even when they lose wickets. And this is not something that hasn't happened before. Unmuk John had a stretch of games where he just couldn't find runs. Now, Mark Parchman would fill in the gaps, but they would lose wickets at one end of the surface, and they would still be able to fight back and come back. So this is not a situation they're unaccustomed to being in.
Oh,
Straight back down the ground. This could be four. No, good work, Stephen Taylor.
Stephen Taylor.
Made enough ground. It was hit very, very straight. You thought that was going to run, but Stephen Taylor, quick enough.
Yeah, off the bat, I was thinking that's 4 all the way, but that's good work by Stephen Taylor, who generally you'd expect to see somewhere closer to the wicket. Not much of an outfielder, but doing the hard work in the outfield at long on, preventing 3 runs.
Trying to keep it away from Bhutan. Not going to be a wide. Not going to be a bye either. No runs on offer. You saw Pinar spot the movement from Bhutan and then pushing it out wide.
That is such a high level of cricket IQ from the bowler, because of all the things that you have to be looking at when you're a bowler, before you release the ball, he's also keeping his eye on the batter and then adjusting the delivery accordingly.
That one given a wide, and Hobus can't quite believe it. He's just saying, all right, give me the ball back. I got to re-bowl this one. But yeah, I think his question would be, Bhutan's move to the off stump. Does the wide line not move with him?
That certainly is the thinking. Of course, umpire Samir Bandekar, very experienced. Oh,
In the air and away from the fielders. It's running towards that boundary, but it'll just be kept to 1. Went back to the reverse sweep. Bhutan, he's a big fan of that shot. Plays it quite often, plays it well.
Jay Patak showing his athleticism there.
The
with
hundreds
sliding
come on
stop.
the board.
Up, yeah, 100 up, absolutely. So the scoring rate picking up just a little bit. Maybe at the start of the next over, we'll go through some projected scorings again.
Just tying his shoe is Jesse Bhutan, but Cassius Burton, he's played second fiddle for a lot of this partnership and has kind of just let Bhutan take the majority of the strike. He's hung out at the non-strikers end, and this partnership that's worth 40 off just 30 deliveries, key for why the Atlanta Lightning have an opportunity and have this platform where you're 1 ball away from the 15th, you have triple digits on the board. Is it taken? Finger hasn't gone up. Finger hasn't gone up. Obis Pinar can't believe it. And he's put it up late. I think he's put the finger up late. Samir, no, he hasn't. He said no. I'm not sure quite what it is. The fire are coming together. No, he's walking off. The finger did go up. So better late than never. The finger has gone up. Samir Bandekar is giving this one here.
Is this a catch? I'm not exactly sure how he was given out. So it was a catch. Okay, it was a top edge or thin edge and a catch. Kind of not collected cleanly by Jamar Hamilton, but eventually holds on to it. And umpire Samir Bandekar having a very long time to make up his mind, but eventually deciding that kissed the outside edge. And so that is the end of Cassius Burton. 27 from 30. Bhutan 37 from 23. Atlanta is 100 for 5.
Well, after all the mayhem that happened on that fine delivery of Obis Pinar is over, the wicket of Cassius Burton stands, and then Cornet dry. He's got ball in hand. He bowled 2 good overs. The second one went for 13. The first one was a wicket maiden with the wicket of Mark Parchman coming from his very first delivery Now operating on the opposite end. I'm going to start things off to Jesse Bouton.
Corner drive, very good opening bowler. Sometimes coming back into the attack late in the innings doesn't have as much success. We'll see how well he does here. Oh.
Down the leg side, Jamar Hamilton, an athletic effort. I think he might have just gotten a glove to it. They will keep it to just one. Really good effort from Jamar Hamilton, given leg buys there from the umpire.
Truly athletic effort here from Jamar Hamilton, diving away to his left. That's never easy as a right-hander. See it here on the replay. And just an athletic attempt. I think he may just have flipped that. And absolutely great piece of work. Saves 3 runs, actually.
Good work there. Yeah, just that little bit of glove. It'll bring in Dexter Sween. Just have bat in hand now. He's a new addition to this Lightning side. Hadn't seen him up in Atlanta just a couple of weeks ago. Big shot straight away, but it's high off the pads there. There you go, Dexter Sween, leg by, given straight away. He'll be at the non-striker's end. A lot will rest on the shoulders of Jesse Bouton to just continue to find his way through this innings. Last 5 overs, and we've already seen all the shots, the wide array of them. And if you can just find a couple more boundaries in the over. Looking for one, slower one undoes him though. This is what Cornet Dry, we don't see him do a lot of this. I spoke to him in more so North Carolina when he was up there a couple of weeks ago, where he bowled seemingly 75 to 85% of cutters. He said, I don't think I've bowled that many cutters in my entire career that I did in that one day. So it's not something he often does.
Yep. But
he has the ability to do that and recognizes the situations in which he needs to.
Well, I said that sometimes he doesn't have as much success in his second spell as he does in his first. But he's doing well here so far. 3, no runs off the bat from the first 3 deliveries. This is struck into the deep. That is Stephen Taylor out there on the boundary. And this is good bowling by Cornet Dry.
Good bowling indeed, as Dexter Sween will be back on strike. And again, we'll get to see what he can do with the bat in hand. And, you know, they held back a guy like Neve McNally. So for Neve McNally to come in after Dexter Sween, it means Sween's going to have an ability to hit the long ball, play big as well. Looking to pull it away, unable to get bat on ball, and tough to bowl that bouncer to climb the big, tall man. This man rivals even Cornet Dry in terms of height there. Not many that do that, but hard to climb him, does so well.
And if you're going to bowl that short ball, that's where it needs to be. It needs to be up around shoulder or face height. A short ball that only gets up to, say, chest height is one that is easily scored off of. That's good bowling by Cornet Dry.
Again short, this time gets him on the arm. Get by for a single, a little pat on the back from Cornet Dry as well to close out the 16th over. Just checking on Dexter Sween. 16 gone, 104 for 5.
वक्त आ गया है लक्ष्मी बासमती राइस को घर लाने का।
लक्ष्मी एक्स्ट्रा लॉन्ग बासमती राइस, इसका हर दाना हो इतना लंबा, पकते हुए महके और प्लेट पे क्या खूब खिले।
हाँ, मेरे घर लाने का।
4 overs to go here in this first inning. Hobus Pinar will finish out his spell. Ooh. That's gone through everybody yet again. Again, that one was dug in short, but it was quick through to Dexter Sween.
Yeah, I was looking to see whether or not umpire Samir Bandeka would have signaled buys. He did not, so that obviously came off of the bat. Interesting. So then would that have to be considered a drop catch? Because that did ricochet off of, I think, Jamar Hamilton's thigh. Very interesting.
Looking to run it down, and they'll do so quite nicely. Alfonso unable to pick it up, but I think Sween was well home in the end as well. Again, this is such a luxury for the Atlanta Fire. They pick up Hobus Pinar from the Morsel Raptors in the offseason, and this is what he can do with the bat. He's their leading run scorer after joining the team late, and then can give you anywhere from 2 to 4 overs every single game with ball in hand. And do things like this with it. Not easy to score off of them. They're quality overs. Last season, Dane Pete said that he was going to be the MVP of the entire league, and he's right up there in terms of value.
My goodness. A thinking bowler, and again, just does enough from one ball to the next to make it difficult for the batters. This is an inside edge onto the pad, so he's making it difficult. Sween not able to exactly tee him up, trying to read him, trying to get the better of him, but not able to do it yet. So now we're down to the last 20 balls in this innings, and you still only have 106 runs on the board if you're the Atlanta Lightning.
Inner half of the bat will just fetch one, and again, Pinar with the ball, thinking bowler and a thinking bat as well. He's one of the few men to get to 1,000 runs in minor league cricket. I believe there's 10 of them, and he's only 2 middle order players to do it. That just speaks to his, again, ability with bat and hand. We'll get to see it later today, but right now he's just showing off with the ball. 2 wickets to his name, giving up 25 runs in his 3.5 overs. Has his last ball to Jesse Bouton. Looking for the reverse sweep again, unable to get bat on it this time. What a spell from Hobus Pinar. 25 runs for 2 wickets, 17 gone, 107 for 5. Three overs left here, Brian, as we see Muddy Reddy back with ball in hand. He's bowled 2 overs so far, just giving up 16 runs. The wicket of Unmuk Chand coming from his over as well. And you have to imagine he's going to finish out his spell, the 18th and the 20th. Cornet dry to bowl the 19th.
Yep.
This one's just tickled into the leg side. At some point, you have to imagine the Atlanta Lightning going to start swinging through the line, especially if you're Dexter Sween, who's just come out there ahead of Neve McNally, who's known to do just that. You have to imagine he's sent in for that role.
Well, you have 17 balls left, so in the words of Jesse Jackson, if not now, when? And very honestly, with Neve McNally still to come, it really frees up one of or both of these batters to start being a lot more aggressive.
Well, what a delivery that one. Just jumps up on Bouton. You saw that from Muddy Reddy a couple of times. He just gets a little bit of extra bounce off of the surface, digging it in to the wicket. And Aaron Jones showing a lot of trust in this man who, again, brand new into the team, hasn't gotten much opportunity to play. And in the team instead of Athene the Supermanian, and Jeremy Gordon has done well.
Bowling at the death, though, that's sometimes a very different discipline. And again, it has to be said, there does not seem to be the urgency that you'd be expecting at this stage of the innings.
It almost feels like the Atlanta Lightning have settled and said, look, if we get to 130, we're fine. And yes, 130 from where you were is
Right.
a decent enough total, but you have to imagine, yes, you have a great bowling lineup, but you want to put this Fire team under pressure from the get-go. Get to 150, 160,
Yes.
and then from there you feel it's neck and neck kind of a matchup. That one, the cutter, beating Jesse Bouton.
And if you're Bhutan and you're reputed to be a big hitter, and you've shown big hitting capability in this match already, I guess I understand why he's trying to run it down to deep third, because that area is vacant. I'm thinking a better approach for him specifically would be to be elevating it over extra cover. That type of ball was the type that he would have had the opportunity to elevate over extra cover.
Just 2 balls left in the over, 3 runs from it. There's the intent. Comes down the track. Should have really gotten bat on ball there. He got to exactly where he would have wanted. Just ball gets over the bat, but that's the intent you'd like to see from the start of the over.
Oh my goodness, yes. Again, what you're trying to do is at least make the bowler be uncomfortable. And essentially, Maddie Reddy has just been running up and bowling without much pressure. There's no effort to put the pressure back on him. You're only seeing that now after the 4th ball of his 3rd over.
This one edged, gone. Jesse Bouton looking to go big. All he could do was find the gloves of Jamar Hamilton, and that's the 6th wicket and the big one as Bouton enters the 40s, leaves the middle.
Wow. So a good delivery, sharp, short delivery, bending the back and finding the outside edge. Look at Jamar Hamilton, throws that ball 200 feet in the air, and Jesse Bouton knows that he misses out, just hangs his head and walks off. That is the end of the over. The 6th wicket is down, 18 up, 110 for 6.
Well, Neve McNally has entered the middle. Brian Walters, he'll be at the non-strikers end as Cornet Dry will come in to finish things out. 14 for 1 in 3 overs. Now, the astonishing thing about that is he gave up 13 in 1 of the overs. So the other 2 have just gone for 1 run and 1 wicket. Here he starts off to Sween. And that one's hit. Is straight in the air. Dries underneath it. Takes it. Takes his 2nd wicket. And Dexter Sween, he's got to go. It was a painstaking stay in the middle. No celebrations from the big, tall, quick. Just ready to get to the next ball.
My goodness, that ball skied. And I will tell you what, Corner Dry makes this catch look so simple. There's a short delivery, and the pull being essayed by Sweeney, and Corner Dry drifting over, and look how easily he takes this. It's just such soft hands. If he had about 50 more pounds on him, it'd be a good NFL tight end. Really soft hands, and that ball disappears in his grasp. They say sometimes that bowlers will never drop their own catches. I think you saw evidence of that now. And so Corner Dry comes back with a 2nd wicket, and this is last over.
It's brilliant there. Again, he dug it into the wicket and just found the top half of the bat. And Cornet Dry made it look easy. Here we go. Now for the Atlanta Fire. 2 brand new bats into the middle. Neve McNally is the man of the non-strikers. And we'll get you the name of the striker in just a second. But a lot to be asked upon 2 new men in the middle, especially when you have to face Cornet Dry. It's your Nate Siddiqui, that's the man who's joining Neve McNally. He's been known to hit the long ball too, more known for as a spinner, as a leggy, but does have some exploits. And if you're Siddiqui, really just get your single, get McNally as much strike as you can in his last couple of overs. Yeah, does so very, very well. Picked the slower one, but made sure to get McNally on strike. Brian Walters, now I'm not sure if he's going to repeat it here, but this man can produce some fireworks. His first 8 deliveries just a couple of weeks ago scored 8 sixes.
Wow.
This is a guy who can pummel the ball down the ground. And Cornet Dry would be knowing this.
Now, Corner Dry, you would think, yes, they're in the same city, though, so he'd certainly know of the reputation of Neve McNally. But Corner Dry is not the type of bowler that you hit for 8 sixes in a row.
This one beats the outside half of the bat. Just looking to free his arms, and McNally, we'll see what he can do. And they're going to need him, the Atlanta Lightning, to get themselves to a total that they can defend. Yes, they'll feel good about the fact that you have Pankaj Kumar and Hussein Thillath and Funny Samhadri alongside Siddiqui and McNally, but you don't want to ask too much. If 110 is almost a score where you're saying any mistake, you're out this game.
Yep.
Give yourself 140.
To try to not be hit by the ball, because if you do that, you slow yourself down. You can frequently see it happens that the keeper is able to collect the ball and disturb the stumps without you being behind the line.
Swing and a miss. Not the day that McNally would have wanted to start things off with, but never easy to hit it against Cornet Dry.
Nope.
He's so very good. Again, it's just one of those guys who just keeps adding something. And I think since Major League, a change of role almost, has really started to utilize those cutters more and more, those change-ups in minor league cricket especially. And he's doing so with great ease and talent. This one's hit up in the air. Who wants it? Stephen Taylor underneath it. Makes it look simple. Makes it look very, very simple. The fire, the fielding has been on point. You can see him holding his chest because it's hit him straight there, but he bleeds fire through and through as the 8th wicket falls.
My goodness, skied down the ground. See that front leg splayed, no real power in the shot. Stephen Taylor getting there maybe just a little too far in. He wears one, but manages to hold on to it. There you see him, Stephen Taylor with that catch. A brilliant catch taken by Stephen Taylor in the deep. 8 wickets are down. So in fact, that is the end of the over. At the end of 19, 1 to come, 113 for 8.
Pankaj Kumar Rao, who will more than certainly open the bowling for the Atlanta Lightning. He's going to come in with the bat and have to do something with it. And these 6 balls get to 120, Brian? Is that the message?
You would have to think that's the bare minimum. 8 wickets down, so you can't exactly swing for the fences. But my goodness, this certainly has to be said that this has been an underwhelming performance by the Lightning. And more so than the regular fall of wickets, to me has been sort of the lack of intensity, the lack of aggression. And essentially, they've gotten to the point now, I think, where they're tying themselves in knots, because now it'll be hard to accelerate towards the back end of this innings. But even if you score 12 runs in this over, you're only looking at 125, which I don't think is going to be enough.
Makes some room, helps himself into the leg side. Pankaj Kumar Rao has watched his Junaid Siddiqui send one deep, deep down the ground.
Okay, so you asked for 120. Well, that shot of the first ball gets us within of 1 run of that score. Dragging it from outside the line of off. And Lendl Simmons on the boundary. For a split second would have thought he had the chance for an athletic attempt, but it sails over his head for 6.
Junaid Siddiqui, the Canadian national, once again makes room, this time through the offside. 6 more. This time through covers. Where has this been for the innings? Junaid Siddiqui gets him into the 120s, and a turn here in this tail.
That is the intent that we've been asking for the last 10 or so overs. And it's good to see that it has happened at the back end of the innings, but you have to ask the question, where was it from the top or the middle order? So 2 deliveries into the over. You already have 12 on the board. 125 is the number that I just mentioned. You got there, and then you have another 4 balls to come. So, alternatively, you are Maddie Reddy. What are you going to do to stem this flow of runs? There's nothing wrong with a leg stump Yorker. And boy, you tend sometimes to get to the point where you try too many things. Just the basics alone would work in this case.
Trying too many things, trying too many things. Giving out Junaid Siddiqui, tried too many things on that occasion. Looking, he was hit so good straight down the ground. This time trying to scoop, and the slower ball works wonders, and Jamar Hamilton takes it, and straight away given, fingers up. And Jamar Hamilton, you can see, says, no, you're out, buddy. No, you're gone. That's the end of the innings.
You know, you don't want to criticize somebody who comes in and throws his bat in the last over and scores 12 from 2 balls. But it feels like you should have wanted to bat all the way through the over. And the scoop shot of the 3rd delivery, I don't know that that was the best option. But again, hard to criticize somebody who's coming in at number 10 playing those types of shots, because his main role in the team is going to be with the ball. But having said that, the Atlanta Lightning is in danger of being bowled out inside 20 overs.
And I think he was anticipating that leg stump Yorker, Brian. He got into position to help that one through fine leg, and just pulling the length back. That's what caused that one. Now, Fani Samadri, who's known for taking wickets, has to hold on to his for the final 3 deliveries. Big wipe at it, and Jamar Hamilton just taking a look at Pankaj Kumar Rao as he's running up, peeking around the corner. Again, no more entertaining figure in minor league cricket than number 44 in red and black.
Oh my goodness. Extremely entertaining. It adds so much to the viewing of a cricket match when you have somebody behind the stumps, or really anywhere on the field, but in this occasion, behind the stumps, who's able to add that much energy and enthusiasm to what he's doing on the field.
2 deliveries left, 125 on the board. Can Samadri find any bit of runs? Bat on ball. Has he picked the gap? No, he's just found the fielder, but it'll be 1. Good from the number 11 to get himself off strike and give Pankaj Kumar Rao an opportunity on this final delivery to maybe send one over the rope.
Yep, that's corny dry out there at deep mid wicket. Now, one ball remaining, and the one job that Pranav Rao has here, after not having faced any balls so far, is to hit this one as far as he can.
Straight back down the ground. Emil Alfonso there, taken. No run from the final delivery. They'll stick at 126. It'll be a wicket for Madiredi to get him to number 4. But the Atlanta Lightning, they finish at 126 for 10.
Bowled out for 126. Relatively underwhelming performance when he chose to bat first. And a simple catch down here to Emil Alfonso, who takes it very, very easily, casually almost. And that is the end of things for Atlanta Lightning. So we'll see the scoreboard coming up shortly, but I think you'll see that there has been a relatively undercooked total here by the Atlanta Lightning. Mark Parchment leading things off. First ball was dismissed without scoring. Unmuk Chand and Sagar Patel both low scores, and then Romario King only 4. Cassius Burton and Jesse Bhutan were probably the two who looked most out of the fight, 27 from 30 and 40 from 32 respectively. But then some underwhelming scores toward the back end. Maybe Junaid Siddiqui added some excitement in that last over, 13 from 4, but 126 runs I don't think is going to be enough.
Yeah, then with the ball in hand, it was just great performance after great performance. Talk about Cornet Dry, very first ball, gets a wicket and a wicket made in that over. Takes 3 wickets, just giving up 17 runs. Madiredi 4 wickets for 32. Obis Pinar 2 wickets in 25. Emil Alfonso 1 for 21. And even Jay Batak 4 overs, 24 runs, didn't take a wicket, but really deserved one in the end. The Fire, they hold the Lightning to just 126. So this explosive batting lineup that is the Atlanta Fire, don't need 127 when we come back. Don't go anywhere. Stay tuned for this Atlantic Conference Super 4. Welcome to this Atlantic Conference Super 4 in Prairie View, Texas. I'm Om Patel, joined by Brian Walters. And Brian, we saw the Atlanta Lightning struggle in their batting innings, only get to 126. And now the star-studded Fire batting lineup, they'll need 127 to claim their first win to get themselves onto the right foot in hopes of making that final at the prestigious Grand Prairie Stadium on Sunday.
There's some big names in this lineup. Steven Taylor, opening batter for the USA national team for a number of years, can score quickly. And again, when you chose to bat first as the Atlanta Lightning and you did not come anywhere close to the total you were looking for for something probably minimally around 160, 165. You were not anywhere close to that. Bowled out for 126, which means that you're now in the position where you need to limit a team to scoring essentially less than a run a ball to win. The required rate 6.35, but throw in a few extras and essentially they need to score a run a ball to win. So you're up against it. You have to do something to be able to build pressure, and that is going to be the most important thing here. Building pressure, I think, is the name of the game, because you have to bowl out the Atlanta Fire to be able to win.
You mentioned pressure. Pankaj Kumar Rao will be given the new ball. He's been given the new ball in every match the Lightning has played. He's been available. 7 innings, 8 wickets, an economy rate just under 8, and strikes once every 3 overs. That's what Pankaj Kumar Rao has done this season, and why Captain Unmuk Chand has looked to him. He gets some movement off of the surface, and so we'll try to extract that against Steven Taylor. The opening partner for him today is going to be Rishi Pandey. The Fire have struggled with that opening combination for a good number of games. It was Kennard Lewis. Kennard Lewis now no longer part of the squad. First delivery into Taylor. In the air and over the top of the offside would be the first couple of runs for Steven Taylor and the Atlanta Fire. And I think this is going to be really important, Brian, for the Fire. Not only, yes, you want to get this win, but you want to get this opening pair. Rishi Pandey had opened the batting in years past, and this one overthrow will get 3 runs from that first delivery now. But Rishi Pandey opened the batting alongside Rakeem Cornwall last season for the Fire and found a lot of success this season due to certain USA camps, the under-17 camps and the under-19 camps. Hasn't been a consistent figure up top of the order. He's going to be big, I think, for this team if they want any part of that championship Sunday.
Rishi Pandey, I think, the beneficiary of a less than ideal start in the field for the Lightning. You can't afford any overthrows, and you have to be at the top of your game.
This one, outside edge, will fall short of the man at deep third, but an aggressive start for Pandey, poking at it early. What he does really well is he finds singles, as you mentioned. They need to just keep those going. He's able to do that and facilitate a batter like a Steven Taylor, like Kennard Lewis, like Rakeem Cornwall up top the order, who likes to maybe go a little bit bigger early.
Watch Steven Taylor in that gap over or between cover and extra cover, or if he elevates over extra cover. In fact, extra cover now moving to a more natural cover position. So there's a gap between cover and mid-off, and that is one of Steven Taylor's favorite scoring areas. Watch that area.
That's a good delivery from Pankaj Kumar Rao. Much straighter on that occasion. Just kept Steven Taylor at bay. This is a good opportunity for Steven Taylor as well to see himself in minor league cricket. Has been away from the side as part of the CPL. And so now that he's back, he's just trying to find his way back into a role. Last season when this team was in the finals, batted at number 3, of course, with the exploits of Rakeem Cornwall.
Yep.
So now back up top the order. And he does give good balance to this side with Lendl Simmons, you would imagine, come at 3, and then Aaron Jones to fill at 4, and Obis Pinar at 5.
Such a stacked batting lineup.
With pummeled Steven Taylor. That's classic. That's what all these American cricket fans have come to expect out of big number 8, and he gets a big 6.
My goodness. Well, that one went a lot straighter than the area I was talking about earlier. But in that arc, in the offside between long off and deep extra cover, if it is pitched up on or outside off stump, this is what Steven Taylor does. Look at this. Lovely strike. That front foot coming right down the pitch, and he does not move a muscle. That would be disrespectful of that shot if he ran down the wicket. That is a brilliant strike for 6.
And having a word with Jesse Bouton, and he had a couple of lusty blows. Stephen Taylor saying, yep, that one's the biggest of the day. But Pankaj Kumar Rao just given that width, and that's going to be the key. The length wasn't too bad. You probably could pull it back if you wanted to, but get that one much straighter towards that off stump.
You certainly want it closer toward off. And again, my preference would be that it would be about a yard shorter. You can't have Stephen Taylor just play through the line.
Does straighten it up, but able to get it into mid-wicket. And Stephen Taylor running hard for 2. This is good here from the USA opener, and you could hear the cheers from the Atlanta Fire dugout. They love it, and that's, again, something that Rishi Pandey probably has a big part of that. He's probably called that straight away, saying we're running 2 here, and Stephen Taylor very responsive.
And the intent was there. That's what you want to do with a total that is under par. What you don't want to do is make the bowling side feel like they're staying in the game. To the extent that you can, you want to get on top of them as quickly as possible. And that little things like pushing and turning 1s into 2s, those are the kinds of things that sort of help to effectuate that.
Down the leg side, it'll be a wide there. Has struggled Pankaj Kumar at times with this. Can be and give those extras. And, you know, it can be kind of disappointing because he can apply so much pressure and then get carried away and just have a couple of wides that ruin the over. But again, Unmukt Chand has turned to him, and like we mentioned with the Atlanta Fire, no Jeremy Gordon, who opens the bowling. For the Atlanta Lightning, Hussain Talat, the Pakistani domestic, he is no longer available for the Lightning, and that's why, you know, we saw Dexter Sween in the team today. No Hussain Talat, so that opening bowler, you need to find a new one. That's why Pankaj Kumar is so much more important. Better length, better line to keep Stephen Taylor at bay with a dot ball. 1 over gone, 13 without loss.
Took that last corner pretty quick.
Sir, I need one hand on the roof, one hand on the pump.
Timeout for Sunoco Go Rewards.
Keep pumping.
With new Sunoco Go rewards, when you fuel, you save because rewards come first.
Well, we mentioned just a little bit ago, no Hussain Talat. You see that man, Fani Samhadri, on your screen. He's more known for what he does later on in the innings, and that's why Dexter Sween has the ball in hand. Number 44 there. Dexter Sween wasn't able to produce the goods with the bat, but the big, tall man will have an opportunity to use a surface that liked being dug into. That's what rewarded the bowlers. He seems like the type of bowler that can find great success.
Well, I think the formula is still the same. You have to build pressure. You did not build any pressure whatsoever in the first over, giving up some 13 runs, including an overthrow, a 6, and a wide. What you want is 6 good deliveries on or around off stump, short of driving length. And if you force them to score off of those types of balls, then you tip your cap and say, yes, fine, you got us today. But you have to be able to build that pressure.
There it is, digging it into the surface and getting a little bit of movement away. Again, when we saw Cornet Dry digging in the surface, great success. When we saw even Jay Patak or a Madiredi be on a length, great success. So someone who's big, tall, comes with that height and that pace, I think he could be really successful for the Lightning today.
Well, that's exactly what you're going to be trying to do. And so to the extent that you can help sort of effectuate that type of pressure, that's exactly the mindset that you need to have. Going on the attack now, a slip and a gully in position.
Fuller, big shout, big shout. Rishi Pandey says no. Umpire says no. Unmukt Chand can't quite believe it. He was convinced. Dexter Sween was convinced. Not meant to be for the Atlanta Lightning.
I will say that struck me as more a hopeful appeal than one where they actually thought it was out. I think the sound that you might have heard was the bat hitting the ground. This should give us a good look. Yeah, definitely. Looking to play it through the leg side, and his bat came and hit the ground. That is the noise that you heard, that ball going straight through to Unmukt Chand. And look, I don't mind. You're allowed to ask the question, but once you ask the question and the umpire answers it, then you focus on the next ball.
The next ball does something similar.
Great delivery.
Passes the outside edge of Rishi Pandey. And again, this is Dexter Sween and what he can do. They know that they can utilize this bowler. No Hussein Thalat. They needed someone to be effective, and on a surface that likes being dug into, Dexter Sween is doing just that.
Well, you like what you've seen so far from Dexter Sween. 3 dot balls. This is what I'm referring to about building pressure. The ball has to be in the right area, and you have to ask the questions of the batters. This is a good start here by Dexter Sween.
Run through third man. They'll get a single out of it. They thought about 2 for a moment, but Samadri keeps it to just 1. And this would be the prize wicket if you are the Atlanta Lightning. Can you get Steven Taylor? Can you get the big-time bat, CPL, the U.S. national team player, out of this lineup and just start carving into the middle order?
That would be the thinking. And yes, the Atlanta Fire bat very deep, but you don't bowl a team out until you take the first wicket. So the idea is to get 1, and getting that 1, if that 1 is Steven Taylor, then that puts you in a good position. And also, all the big hitters who are coming afterwards are all right-handed. And so getting the left-hander sort of simplifies your bowling attack from that point.
Fuller swinging in, but well dealt with by Steven Taylor. Will fetch a couple of runs. This is good batting. And it's just smart. Isn't trying to overhit it. Just times that one through covers.
That's exactly the point. So, you know, you're okay, or you're accepting of this type of a start. 3 runs conceded from over number 2. As long as you're keeping the chasing side under the target scoring rate, they need to go from here 6.1 and over. And that scoring rate, after having gone for 13 in the first over, is now down to 8.73. So you know that you've pulled things back so far. That's exactly what you need to start doing from this point on.
Pulled, taken. Funny Samhadri, standing at fine leg, reaches straight up into the air and takes a spectacular catch. And Dexter Sween's got a wicket here in his very first over. And the Atlanta Fire, they're 1 down.
I just said you don't take 10 without first taking 1. And if that 1 that you take is Steven Taylor, all the better. This one on Steven Taylor's hips does exactly what you'd expect him to do. Force it off his hips, doesn't time it well, and it loops in the air to find a Samadri's short, fine leg. It travels straight to him, takes it probably about maybe a foot above his head, but relatively speaking, an easy catch. And that is the end of Steven Taylor. 13 from 7. End of 2, the score is 16 for 1.
Well, Brian, we spoke of Lendl Simmons probably coming in at 3 and Aaron Jones at 4. Said the captain has elected to come in at 3, which he's done a lot this season. He wants to be in this phase of the game, so he's come in. Lendl Simmons will have to wait. I imagine he's the next bat in, with Obis Pinar probably wanting to stay at 5. But right now, Dexter Sween has delivered the goods. 3 runs given up in his first over. He's taken the wicket, the big one of Steven Taylor. And now the Atlanta Fire have to reset. The Atlanta Lightning aren't one to make excuses. They understand, look, we did what we did out there. Now it's time to go execute. One of the only teams up in Atlanta who said, this is the wicket. We left runs out there. The wicket didn't do anything to us. We left runs. And this is the kind of nature you'd expect. They're a fighting team. We'll see how Pankaj Kumar Rao fights in a second over. Cut nicely. Work to be done by Funny Samhadri, and he won't be able to get there. It will be 4 runs. Good effort there, but Rishi Pandey struck it well.
Rishi Pandey probably not striking it as well as he could. The ball really laboring to get across the ground, but had enough. And the fielder running back from backward point. There you see on the replay. Backward point and Fanny Samadri down at deep third. Neither of them able to get to it in time. And a boundary for Rishi Pandey. So 6 from 6 for him now. Aaron Jones has yet to face a ball. But importantly, the target is down to 109. 109, yes.
This one on the pads of Rishi Pandey, much straighter. And this is where Pankaj Kumar out can operate towards the stumps.
Yep.
Straight through.
So apologies. I meant the target was down to 107. So you're only needing 107. The required rate, 6.06, means you have 107 balls to get to 107 runs. So make that 106 balls to get to 107 runs. So there is no concern about scoring rate. You can roll out of bed and score 6 runs and over.
Maybe
the idea,
you can, bro.
but the idea is to not lose wickets, and it's so important to continue scoring and not lose any wickets.
In the air, but well placed from Rishi Pandey. This one better, and a race to the boundary. No, it'll just hold up in the surface. Just be a couple of runs for Pandey. Again, hasn't quite got the timing just right, but gets it well enough.
Well, if the ball is there to be hit, then you cash in. And there was width on offer, and he took advantage to knock it over the top of extra cover. The idea is to cash in on any scoring opportunities, however they present themselves. If it means that you tap the ball into a gap and run for a single, then that's what it means. If it also means that you get a wide ball that you can elevate over extra cover, then you do that too.
Elevates. Has he got enough? Fielder underneath it. Unable to take it. McNally would have been a tremendous take. Was running straight back. Never easy running back, looking over your shoulder. He dove out, in and out of the hands.
That is not easy. Looking at the reaction by Pankaj Kumar Rao, he was actually upset at the fielder. I'm not sure exactly why. Look at this. This is not an easy attempt. Running backward and diving, that is never an easy opportunity. Gave it, I think, all he had. Maybe if you had a criticism, you would say that he didn't quite judge it off the bat. But that effort is one that has to be rewarded. And here you see again on the replay, just diving. That's a better view of it there. Just out of his reach, running back from mid-off, and 2 more runs to the total.
Rishi Pandey gets a life there. He's looking to be aggressive. He's been unafraid to try to go over the top. Has to just settle in now. Again in the air. This time I don't think he's going to survive. Yeah, one too many. Wasn't taken cleanly, but good enough for Cassius Burton. And he'll take the catch, and Rishi Pandey, after being given a life in the previous ball, loses it here.
Well, he's given a life, but then he turns around and commits suicide. This is not a ball that was there for the drive, and he plays a shot, tries to play it on the up, but that ball was nowhere near full enough for that type of shot. And when you play that shot to that ball, the only thing you'll succeed in doing is skying it. And really well judged by Cassius Burton, and he takes it easily. In fact, looking at that replay, it didn't exactly take it easily. In baseball, you'd call that a snow cone catch, where the ball pops in and pops back out, but soft enough hands to be able to control it, and eventually holds on to it, Cassius Burton. So 2 wickets are now down, and with 24 runs on the board, 1 ball remaining here in over number 3, you need exactly 103 runs in 103 balls. And here's the name we mentioned earlier, Lendl Simmons.
Yeah, Lendl Simmons will come into the middle. He was brought in a couple of weeks ago to the Atlanta Fire. And again, someone with so much experience, not just internationally, but in minor league, was part of the Silicon Valley Strikers a couple of years ago. And so he's, again, just tremendous. And the experience he brings and the batting expertise he has.
As a West Indies cricket fan, I would have thought 10 years ago that he was going to be the next big great in the annals of our opening history. Think of names like Greenwich, Haynes, etc. And didn't quite live up to those expectations, and then after a while chose to retire from playing for the West Indies, but still a relatively young man. I would guess he's around 35 years old and still able to score heavily. And you'd expect that a lot of the hopes for the Atlanta Fire are riding on Lendl Simmons' bat.
Good start. Good end to the over for Pankaj Kumar Rao. Good way to start off Lendl Simmons. 3 overs gone, 24 for 2.
वक्त आ गया है लक्ष्मी बासमती राइस को घर लाने का।
लक्ष्मी एक्स्ट्रा लॉन्ग बासमती राइस, इसका हर दाना हो इतना लंबा, पकते हुए महके और प्लेट पे क्या खूब खिले।
हाँ, मेरे घर लाने का।
Pankaj Kumar Rao, that man on your screen, he's taken the big wicket of Rishi Pandey, and Aaron Jones hasn't seen a delivery, has done all of his stay at the non-strikers in. So you got 2 fresh bats out in the middle.
2 men of West Indian heritage. Aaron Jones, obviously an American, but grew up in Barbados. And then Lendl Simmons is from the Twin Island nation of Trinidad and Tobago. So 2 of the areas in the Caribbean, really in the world, that have produced brilliant cricketers over the years.
This one beats the outside edge of Aaron Jones, who again is looking to play that big drive. But what we've seen from Dexter Sween so far, on a length, getting it to move in the direction away from the right-hander, and just utilize the wicket so far.
It's his line for me. He's bowling the perfect line. That ball is on or around off stump or maybe fourth stump. That's the line that he's being able to maintain. Even when he changes up his length, he keeps the ball on that same line. There.
This one just, again, right outside that off stump and making things difficult. Sween has a big role to fill. Hussein Thalat was a big factor for the Lightning with both bat and ball, one of their leading run scorers, and then with the ball in hand, their second highest wicket taker, 8 innings, 12 wickets, and economy just under 6. So big shoes to fill, and he's done so quite well to start things off. Just pushed into the offside, no run on offer. Aaron Jones hasn't been at his fluent best all throughout the tournament. He's had flashes of real form, but he hasn't found that 2022 minor league playoffs form that when he really just set the league alight.
This is true. That is less relevant when the target is 127 than if the target were 227. So if you get 50 from 60 balls from him here, all will be forgiven.
This one's into the leg side. Cries of catch it. It's away from the fielder. It'll end up being 4 runs. Aaron Jones, he's good on the back foot. Hopped on it quickly. Found himself a boundary.
Somebody from Barbados loves the ball short. Pounces onto the back foot, pulling that one well in front of square. You see a pull shot that goes to mid-wicket. That tells you how quickly the batter picked up the length. And immediately after having picked up the length, unfurls the hook shot, and the ball trickles. Didn't exactly nail it, but the intent is what mattered, and it carried it over the boundary for 4.
Here we go for Aaron Jones. That's a welcome way to get his first runs of the day. If he can just keep himself in, play himself into some form. You know Obis Pinar has been good in the middle. Stephen Taylor has looked good, but Aaron Jones, if he can just find his nick of flow. Again short, again pulled. This time we'll find mid-wicket. Just a single there, but again, smart batting. You mentioned it. Don't need a lot of runs through the Fire. Just need to keep themselves amongst the runs.
That's exactly right. And now, importantly, psychologically, you've now had the target fall under 100. So you only need 98 more runs from here, from the next 97 balls. So even though the required rate is above a run a ball, it's only barely above a run a ball. So once again, factoring in the extras that are likely to come the rest of the way, essentially you can win this game in singles. So there's absolutely no need to take any risks. Once again, if you get a bad ball, you can put it away, but otherwise, no reason to take any more risks.
And left alone to close out the fourth over, 29 for 2. Well, the Atlanta Lightning, they've gotten themselves 2 wickets, but they got to take plenty more. The Fire 29 for 2 with the captain and the very experienced Lendl Simmons out there who feel very comfortable with still Obis Pinar, Nasser Hussein to come. And Milo Pons has been much better with the bat. Cornet Dry has been great with the bat, so plenty of guys who are trusty with bat in hand, but these two in the middle going to be key. Pankaj Kumar Rao being given a 3rd over to start off proceedings.
And you're only chasing at this point, as we just said, 98 more runs, so no reason to do anything risky. Captain Aaron Jones taking a little bit of time to get settled, and I think Pankaj Kumar Rao has bowled relatively well. Maybe a touch expensive, but you'll take the wicket that he gave you. 1 for 21 from his 2 overs. The first over going for 13. That was the most expensive, but he cleaned things up in that second over where he took a wicket.
Pushed down the ground, but no run on offer. And well, the Lightning have done really well. They've understood the wicket since they've come out to bowl. It's a wicket where if you're on a length, tough to score. It's not one where the bounce is inconsistent, but it's just there seems to be something in it for the bowlers as well.
Yep, that's exactly right. And pretty much the entire day, you haven't seen many demons in this wicket. And what you're going to want to sort of effectuate is the opportunity to score runs. Aaron Jones knows that, and there's tons of room around for you to tap the ball into the gaps and run.
Pushed, but no run on offer. It was just out there early. And for the Atlanta Fire, again, you would want your captain to be in there to the very end. You want him to score the winning runs. I think it just would do him some good to get some more runs under his belt. He's always a very confident player, and you know how good he is, but to get one to start these playoffs off would just, I think, benefit this side.
It would, and, you know, maybe Aaron Jones is starting out relatively slowly, 5 from 7, even though he did have that boundary. But I would liken his innings so far to how Andreas House started this morning. Taking a little bit of time, but once he gets his feet set and gets the timing down and gets the read of the pitch under control, that's when you'd expect him to be able to score runs. Different position or different situation in which he's batting as compared to Andreas House this morning. But the idea is still, even though you've already absorbed 3 dot balls in this over, you still have a situation where you don't have to go hell for leather to be able to win this game.
I think the one difference between the House's innings and Jones's innings so far is the ability to get that single consistently. House was adding around 100 strike rate, 18 from 19, so much and so forth, was just able to push it into gaps. Aaron Jones so far has struggled to push into gaps. It's been the one boundary, the one single to follow that, and everything else has been dot balls. So I think that's the one thing you want to change, and it's been one of the few constraints on Aaron Jones's career, you would say, as the member of the U.S. team. It's just he can do this, almost get stuck at the crease, eat too many dot balls, and put too much pressure his partner on the other end.
That's a good point. It would be much more, and not that what you're saying is irrelevant. It's very relevant, but it would be more relevant if they were chasing, say, 170, Absolutely. 180. You can absorb a few dot balls. I wouldn't want to do this for much longer, but you can afford to absorb a few dot balls and not have that required rate get out of control. Having said that, 4 deliveries into over number 5, and you've not scored anything yet. So you still need 98 runs. You're down to 92 balls left in which to get them. So you don't want to see that required rate getting, say, 8, 9, 10 in that range. You can absorb a few dot balls to get settled, but eventually you're going to have to start scoring runs.
There's the runs that Aaron Jones needed. We'll pick up a single with one delivery in the over, and again, the time he was able to score, ball a little bit fuller, able to push it. And so again, the length is going to be so key for the Atlanta Lightning. But after all is said and done, this power play still you'd feel very good about if you're the Atlanta Lightning because of the fact that you've taken 2 wickets, going to be around 30-odd runs, and it's a good place to be.
So you're now, if you're Pankaj Kumar Rao, you're going to have to close this over out. Lendl Simmons is not yet off the mark, only faced 2 balls. You know that he's somebody who has a power game in his arsenal. So you just want to make sure that you bowl defensively here.
Going to be a wide, trying to just adjust for the movement down the track. So it gives that extra, and again, those free runs will just ease maybe just that little bit of pressure the Fire were building. And that's the one problem you'd say. When you don't put up runs on the board, you mentioned it earlier, you don't have that luxury and room to give any of these because there's so few runs to go and get, and now you've gifted one. Just takes so much of the pressure out that you've already built.
That's exactly right. The margins for error are very small. And again, if you don't have very many runs to play with, the last thing you want to do is give away free runs. So you have to get to the point where you're consistently building pressure.
Pushed into the offside. They'll pick up a single to close out this 5th over. Just 3 runs coming from it. 32 for 2. Well, we'll get our first bowling change of the day, Brian. And right to close out the power play in a similar position, it's Funny Simhadri, who just a season ago, the MVP of the entire league, first 43 wickets across the season, has made the jump from the Seattle Thunderbolts to the Atlanta Lightning, found his way back into the playoffs. He's got his first ball now. Oh! Bowled him straight away. Funny Simhadri does what Funny Simhadri does. The Sling King picks up the wicket, knocks off the off stump, and it's all smiles from Mukchand and the Atlanta Lightning.
Wow. Goes right through Lendl Simmons with a perfect Yorker. I think you'll see on the replay this ball pitches right on the popping crease. Gets right through Lendl Simmons. Trapped him on the crease. Here we go. This should give us a good look here. Look where this ball lands. Right on the popping crease in the block hole. Off stump goes for a walk. Look at Unmukhchand. He knows they don't have enough runs to play with, so he knows that you need to bowl out the Atlanta Fire. And you don't take 10 without first taking 1, 2, and 3. That's where they are now, 32 for 3.
How about this? 32 for 3, and Obis Pinar finding himself out in the middle once again far earlier than he would have liked. He's someone who likes to come in the middle periods, over 7, 8, 9. If he can come in there and he scores in a hurry. Now it's a very different role. Stick in, survive, take the game deep. And he's someone who can play in kind of both manners. We've seen him do it with the Morsel Raptors last season, with the Atlanta Fire this season, but he's someone known for that explosive gear. Think about what he did in the U.S. Masters T10 this past season. Also think about the fastest 100 in all of minor league cricket's history down in Florida just last season.
Obis Pinar, vastly experienced, played for a number of years. played, I believe, a few seasons in, and correct me if I'm wrong, Ireland. I think that's right. If that's not right, it was Scotland. But played a number of years in the British Isles, from South Africa originally. We saw him with the ball in hand earlier, good left arm spinner, and a really solid right-handed attacking batter. Doesn't go hell for leather up from the first ball usually, but is a proper cricketer, but also can strike a good long ball.
Now, he's going to have to face a bowler who's just created tough times for everybody in minor league cricket, Funny Simhadri. How does Simhadri bowl to Pinar? It's a little bit different when you have someone this tall with the kind of range that Pinar does. Oftentimes, you'll see him move outside leg stump, and he can still reach balls outside the off stump. Good start from Simhadri.
I think sometimes, and this statement generally has some reliability, that it can be easy to york a very tall batter. And sometimes you have to, that bat is coming from so high that line, even though that line is going down the leg side, that line that is generally around leg stump and the length where it's landing right on the popping crease can sometimes be difficult for a very tall batter who's just relatively new to the crease. Always Pinar, you don't think would be defeated by such a delivery, but I wouldn't be surprised to see Fanny Samaji try that type of ball.
Instead of going for that Yorker, Brian, he's looked to be on a length a little bit more often to Pinar. I think he's just trying to keep it out of the levers, almost making him reach for it. If he were to go down the ground, he would have to really stretch the hands out, lose a lot of the power. Simhadri's so smart, so versatile. And again, he's someone that once wickets start falling can just be so explosive. Strays down the leg side and will be flicked off his hip for his first runs of the day. Obis Pinar. This over's only gone for 2. Picking up a wicket as well. Exactly what the captain, Chand, would have ordered.
So you passed the psychological barrier of 100 runs, 100 runs remaining, or 100-run target several deliveries ago. But that required rate is actually sneaking upward. It's almost 6.5 now. And there is starting to be some distance between runs left and balls remaining. You still need another 93 runs and 86 balls remaining. So those two numbers were neck and neck for a while. That gap is going in the direction opposite of the way that the Atlanta Fire wants it to.
Pushed down the ground. Good from Aaron Jones to get that single. This is going to be the key for the Fire. Don't need to do much more than this. Yes, for Funny Simhadri's overs, you don't have to go get 6. If you can get 4 to 5, you're still very much in the game, and then you can take a couple of extra runs on another bowler.
I think it emphasizes how important it is for each bowler to play his role. I'll say more after this.
Playing his role well, though, is Funny Simhadri to close out the power play. We'll get to your point in a second, Brian. 35 for 3. Well, you mentioned playing a role, Neva McNally. What do you envision his role is, Brian? What do you envision the role is for the medium pacer?
Oh, before Neve McNally, I want to talk about Fanny Samaji's role. He bowls, and you and I were talking off camera. Neve McNally as the bowler. We'll definitely get back to him in a second. But Fanny Samaji, generally, for me, bowls best when he's a change bowler. So somewhere in the range between over 6 and 10 is when you'd want to see him bowl. So you want to see him bowl, say, 6, 8, 10, 12, or something along those lines. When the batters are looking to attack, his variety and the extent to which he can change his line, his length, his pace, that's when he's most difficult. But as the single is taken, if you see, and I've seen him put in a position before where he has the new ball, not as effective a ball under those circumstances. And so that's sort of what I mean. If you put him in the position where he's most comfortable and where he's most effective, then that's how you want to use him.
Neve McNally is another one of those bowlers. You don't see being given the new ball too often, but with the older ball is quite effective. 5 innings, 9 wickets. Brian, get this, an economy of 4.
Oh.
Striking, has a strike rate of 10.7. He's someone who's come on not just with the bat late in games, but with the ball. Is so very effective and is tough to score on.
And quicker than you would think. He's actually bowling very, very quickly. Gets a couple runs here. That's good running. But for me, somebody like Neve McNally, if you were going to put him in a position out of his comfort zone, he may in some ways succeed bowling the new ball. The figures that you just read dictate that he is excellent in the role in which he's playing right now. But he's quick enough, it appears, that if you needed to give him the new ball, he should find some success there too.
Yeah, absolutely. And it comes from the fact that he has just such a clear mind about what he wants to do. When in Atlanta, the comm box is pretty close to the top of his run-up, and you just get to hear him every ball, and he knew exactly what he wanted. Never took things too seriously. Just executed, nearly chops it on, does Pinar. And again, this is what McNally does. He recognizes the pitch is my friend. I'm going to put it on a length and let the batters play from there. He's not going to do anything more than that, and that's what makes him so good.
It is interesting because, believe it or not, we spoke earlier about building pressure. This is building pressure because 3 deliveries into this over so far, only 3 runs on the board. That required rate now up to 6.59.
Pushed into the offside, gets a hand to it. Well done. Well done inside the ring. I think that's Jesse Bouton who's done that. Yeah, it is. Able to keep that one. That was headed towards the boundary, firmly struck and timed by Obis Pinar.
Certainly Jesse Bouton with a good piece of fielding there. Obis Pinar maybe looking to reverse that pressure because that delivery, he stepped down trying to get to the pitch. Actually struck it well, but Jesse Bouton at extra cover, doing well to keep that ball from getting through.
A little bit of extra bounce that time. Again, just using the wicket to his advantage. Neve McNally and the Fire batters won't be too troubled by the run rate edging towards 7. As long as they keep themselves amongst the runs here, don't let it get too far into the 8, the 9, the 10s. With the firepower to come, that man on the screen, Obis Pinar, there's plenty of batting to go around.
Certainly plenty of batting. What you do not want is to lose wickets, at least not at this stage. So ideally you'd want them, this pair, the captain and the senior pro, to bat through maybe over, at least over number 10, start getting that run rate going in the right direction.
As this one's pushed into the offside, they'll fetch a single to close out the 7th over, 40 for 3. Junaid Siddiqui, leg spinner, a Canadian national, will have ball in hand here. Leggy, who is more effective just because of how he varies the pace. Can get turned, but watch the line and the lengths in which he bowls. The first spinner introduced for the Atlanta Lightning. We saw spin very effective for the Fire earlier today.
Spin certainly can be effective. The pitch doesn't offer a lot of turn, but if there's any turn, it will be away from Aaron Jones. Good looking delivery.
And it's really the one spinner the Lightning have in their belt. No Hier Patel in today's team. You can look to Cassius Burton, who can bowl some leg spin. Hasn't been asked too much of this season, so be wondering if Lim Mukchand elects to use it. But this is a matchup I want to watch right here. Siddiqui has to be careful with the length he bowled to Pinar. The long arms of Pinar can just help himself straight back down the ground.
Yes.
Don't let it get in the arc. If it's in the arc, it's good as over the rope for 6. And this is what he does so well. It's cream straight to short cover, but you're going to consistently see that movement from Pinar. Because he's so long, he feels so comfortable moving well outside his leg stump to make room to go over the top of the offside.
I'll tell you what, that was struck with power.
This time Roots himself finds one down the ground.
So you get the sense that Obus Pinar may be, it may not be an exaggeration to say that he may be the key to whether or not the Atlanta Fire wins this game. You lose Obus Pinar here, then your batting resources after that are less than ideal.
Absolutely. You're going to look to Cornet Dry, who has definitely found a better flow with the bat this season. He's looked better, has nearly snuck another overthrow. We saw, him consistently able to get, score into the 40s in a losing chase manner, but also Emil Alponzo shown the ability to hit the long stroke down the ground. Nasser Hussain is still available, so that's the one thing you'll hang your hat on, but you want these two until the end. In the air, cries of catch it. Won't get there. That's 6. Again, didn't even look like he went full into that Obus Pinar. It's just the timing of that man's bat. He finds boundaries with ease, clears them with even more ease, and gets 6 of them.
I'll tell you what, you talked about his reach is a very big reach, long arms, and is able to hit, in fact, he hit that against the turn. That was a regulation leg break, but still getting enough on it, Obus Pinar, to carry it over the boundary at long on.
This one pushed down the ground. Again, timed nicely. We'll find one out to close what is the 8th over. At the end of 8, it's 50 for 3.
What's up, Doug? What got into you?
At Sunoco, we know how to fuel peak performance. Fuel your best.
In the air, but in the gap. And that one's racing away into the boundary. And will fetch 4 more. Obus Pinar. Really nicely done.
Bit of miscommunication. Mid-wicket fielder was expecting for there to have been coverage behind him. So took off late after that ball. I don't know that he would have gotten there in any case, but not quite looking as sharp as they need to in the field, the Atlanta Lightning. And all of a sudden, the momentum has started to switch the other direction. So now they've plugged that gap. There's now a man at deep mid-wicket and then a man at short mid-wicket, making sure that the fielding positions are exactly right. Unmuk Chan knows that he doesn't have very many runs to play with, and the last couple of overs, 10 from the last over, 5 from the one before that. And so a little, doesn't sound like much, but there's a little bit of change in momentum underway, and I think Unmuk Chand is trying to stave off that change in momentum.
Again, that mid-wicket fielder put in deep for the length deliveries McNally's bowling. Slows it down, and again, smart bowling from McNally. He's very clear-minded with what he wants to do. Doesn't let the batter really phase him unless they get into a real rhythm, which we very rarely see. We mentioned the economy of 4. Not many batters have gotten used to Neve McNally.
Bowls the good old-fashioned heavy ball, not very easy to score off of when he bowls that hard length. He's going to have to be careful, though, because if this ball is pitched up, Obespinar has shown the ability to go big down the ground. And elegant, but also powerful, so you're going to have to be careful with your length.
Pushed into the offside, beats cover inside the ring. Long off comes around, so does cover, and they'll pick up 2 more. You mentioned elegant with much power. He also just places it so nicely. He just has a full understanding of how to get the ball in a particular region. And again, just there, 2 straight for the fielder inside the ring, and right in between the 2 fielders on the deep.
That's exactly right. So see if he can continue to do exactly this. So bearing in mind that what the target is. Oh,
as this one's beating him all the way through. It's a little bit fuller. McNally saying that Pinar kind of found a rhythm against the bowling he was offering.
That's a really good delivery. So McNally, 2 balls remaining in this, his second over. Only conceded 11 runs so far, but 6 of them have come in this over. So once again, you don't have very many runs to play with, so you're looking to close this out effectively without any more boundary balls.
Again, pushed into the offside. This one timed even better. Is going to race away to extra cover for 4. How about this from Obespinar?
That is a good looking strike through the offside for 4. Obespinar finding that one in the slot, very full, and driving it wide. That is actually an expert piece of batsmanship, staying leg side and opening up the offside, driving it through extra cover for 4. Brilliant, brilliant batting by Obespinar.
Again, it's that movement, as you mentioned, outside the leg stump, and because he has such a long range, he feels more than comfortable doing it. Doesn't lose out on any access to the offside. Just such an intelligent cricketer. Goes for the Yorker, digs it out, and digs it out for 4. Obespinar take a bow. That's the 3rd 4 of the over, and 14 runs come from it.
That is erring in line this time. The first one, the 5th ball was too wide outside. This one clipped away 2 straight, going down the leg side. Pinar helps himself to 4 more runs. 14 come from the over. 64 for 3 after 9.
Junaid Siddiqui to come back in for his 2nd over here in the 10th. Aaron Jones has just seen Obespinar climb up with the strike rate, 26 from 17. Pushes for 1, Brian. We mentioned it off screen. With the way Obespinar is playing, if you're Aaron Jones, there's 1.
Come on. That's all you need. Obaspinar has shown himself to be the far more enterprising, the far more attacking. And the thing about it is he's not taking any risks. He's playing within his natural game, not playing any cross-batted shots, but he's able to have that natural game allow him to score effectively.
The one here for Pinar. And this is also something that's come later now is the fact that both of these two, if it's not boundaries, it's a single. No one's getting locked in with too many dot balls. They're finding ways to just push down the ground. And again, that's what's been missing, I thought, from the Atlanta Fire batting side. It's just that person to push the ball around. Good delivery from Siddiqui. Pulled the length back. Not much turn on offer for him though, Brian. So he's going to have to really be inventive to try to break this partnership.
Inventive is certainly part of the equation, but the other part of the equation is consistency, and I think he's landed it in the right place every delivery this over. But look at that Yorker. You don't see that happen often from a spinner, but a good delivery right in the block hole. Well played by Aaron Jones.
Yeah, and I think Siddiqui's assessed conditions now after that first over, understanding that it's not the type of surface where you just pitch it on the length and let it turn from there. It's one where you have to just be patient enough. Let the batters make a mistake, and nearly that one. Just that touch of width saves Aaron Jones.
Yeah, that one was tossed up. Aaron Jones, his eyes lit up when that one was tossed up above his eye line. But there was good, serious dip on that ball, and it dipped so much that Aaron Jones couldn't exactly play an aggressive shot that he wanted to. Ends up getting a single into the leg side, but boy, I tell you, this is going to be good, a good over. At least it needs to be good over for Junaid Siddiqui.
Pulled. Fielder giving chase. Has a lot of work to do. Won't get there. The timing and power on Obaspinar on full display. You saw Siddiqui there shadow batting because he can't quite believe how he's punched that one for 4 runs.
Lovely looking shot by Obaspinar. Again, he could have had a couple of different options on how to play this one, choosing to go back and just working it powerfully in that gap between long on and mid wicket. It races away for 4. That is the end of 10. 71 for 3, another 56 remaining. We'll be right back.
Funny Samhadri's in, and you figure it's now or never for the Atlanta Lightning. Digs out the Yorker. Very nearly a duplicate delivery of what we saw to Lendl Simmons, but Aaron Jones just good enough to the task.
Funny Samhadri, leading wicket taker in the side for the season. 14 wickets, economy rate of 5.75. You mentioned it earlier, strike rate of 12. So he's essentially taking a wicket every other over. And so not only is he a great bowler from the standpoint of taking wickets, he's the leading wicket taker in the side, but he also restricts scoring, 5.75 economy rate. So if you're going to win this game, you're going to need your best bowler to make an impact in the side, and it would be right now that you require that.
Yeah, and that economy rate down from last season, where he was so effective, had an economy rate of 6. Yes, you love the 43 wickets he took then, but down to 5.75. And now, when you talk about Funny Samhadri, the big question was, last season, he was on a team that was led by Harmeet Singh, Shedley Van Skalkvik. You had so many guys who took wickets, Subham Ranjane. It was almost like you had to take on Funny Samhadri. Now he's the strike bowler. He's the one everyone knows, and they're going to respect him. Are you still able to perform? And the answer is yes to that question. He still is a very productive bowler. Tucked into leg side. And this is what teams have done to him. They haven't looked to go down the ground. They've just said, we're going to push you for 1 here, push you for 1 there, not throw a wicket to you.
And you have to take that approach because you have to respect him. If you try to attack him, it's kind of like similar to what we're saying about Nosh Kenjige earlier. If you try to attack him, that's when he can be dangerous. This one down the leg side. But the variety that he has in his bowling and the ability to sort of change the conversation and not have the batter expect the same delivery over and over again, that is how he's most effective. And he's going to need to produce something special here to break this partnership. You get the sense that this partnership is the most important the rest of the way.
Bit of width, but no run on offer. Straight to Haran Shenshu. Stationed at short cover. Again, a good over for Samhadri, but you know Unmukchand has brought him here to take the wicket. The 3-run over, great, fantastic.
Yep.
But you need this wicket. You have to break this partnership soon. And tucked. Chance of a run out. Chance.
Oh.
Chance gone begging. Bit of confusion between Pinar and Jones. And very nearly a direct hit. Could have asked the right question to close the 11th over.
Oh my goodness, a direct hit there I think might have found Aaron Jones just short. And 11 overs up, the score is 7-4 for 3.
Here, take a look at the replay. This was at the end of the previous over. Confusion in the middle. Throw comes in. I think he might have just made his ground. I can't quite tell from the angle.
I don't know, that is close, but I'm thinking he might have just been short. I think he might have been short. Doesn't matter in the big grand scheme of things because it wasn't a direct hit, but I think that will give them something to think about. You don't want to take those kinds of chances again. Now McNally back into the attack.
It's a chance gone begging. That's exactly what you're looking for. Funny Samhadri produced that, but you leave it on the table. Now McNally has got the ball in hand. 2 overs for 19 runs. Can he find a wicket? Can he find this wicket? Obis Pinar has been the one who's found real rhythm today. Straight back. Was that a chance? Was that a chance? It's got on the hands. I'm not sure if it got to him direct. I think there might have been just a bump on the way through.
Don't know that that's a chance. I think that's just a drive that goes by the bowler. We'll see here on the replay. Definitely off the bat. Oh, your eyes, your 20-year-old eyes are much better than mine. So, half a chance.
Those half chances have to be taken for the Lightning. That's 2 of them.
Yeah, you have to take those chances, and I'm glad you caught that live. You see that replay shows that the ball was direct or deflected off of his left hand. He's right-handed, not able to control it all on his follow-through.
Push down the ground, we'll find one, and again, those are 2 half chances that have just kind of been left begging. The run out would have been questionable, would have been close.
Yes.
This one, again, really tough. Left hand just shoots up. You don't expect to come down with that one, but at this stage, you're in that situation where you have to just take anything that comes.
And admittedly, a return catch for a fast bowler is never easy because your momentum is carrying you down the wicket, especially after your follow-through toward the ball and it's hit back at you. That's never easy. And there again, that wasn't a catch that time, but still not able to field that ball, single down the ground. So you're exactly back at the point where you started a few overs ago. The required rate and the actual rate are exactly the same. What I mean by that is you need another 70, another 50 balls, 50 runs, and you have another 50 balls in which to get them. So it's coming down close, but you've pulled things back to some extent. This pair is doing what you need at the wicket. The pair Obus Pinar, 34 from 22. Aaron Jones, 15 from 27. And not exactly sure what our delay is here.
So the umpires pointed something, but ends up being a dead ball nonetheless. But when we talk about the Atlanta Lightning, I understand why Mukjanda's gone to McNally and Samadu. Those are your two bowlers that you feel can take wickets in the middle, and that's what they're after. Yes, you want to go by with the quiet over, but you have to break that partnership. You want any chance, with just 50 runs left to go get, it's a game for the batters now. Straight down the ground, cries of catch it, but it's well over. Tracing towards the boundary and will reach the rope. 4 runs for Aaron Jones and the Atlanta Fire.
Yeah, not hit cleanly. Luckily for Aaron Jones, that man was back halfway between mid-off and long-off. And it's a curious fielding position for me. You're not saving one there, and you're certainly not protecting the boundary. So that ball over his head and runs away for 4. So you've gotten to the point now where, once again, the required rate is below a run a ball.
Pulled the length back. No run on offer, but it's still a good over for the Atlanta Fire. And Neve McNally frustrated beyond bits, and you can understand why. 12 overs gone, 81 for 3. .46 runs left to go get for the Atlanta Fire. It's all but a certainty now, but Dexter Sween's got ball in hand. He looked good in his 2 overs, just giving up 8 runs, took a wicket as well, filling in for Hussein Thalat. Can he break the partnership between Obus Pinar and Aaron Jones?
Well, you need 46 runs in the next 48 balls. Clipped away for 4. That is a lovely shot by Obus Pinar, getting 2 straight and helping himself to 4 runs.
Yeah, puts his hand up straight away to Dexter Sween, says that was my fault. Straying well down the leg side and far too easy for any batter, especially a batter like Obus Pinar. It was in the air for a moment, but well placed, was always going to fetch a boundary. Dexter Sween, not the way you would have wanted to start this over. Would have wanted to try to build on that pressure that was starting to brew, but getting that 4 as the Fire start to inch closer. And a win to start this week off is so huge. Each of these teams will play 3 games in the Atlantic Conference. And amongst those 3 games, the team with the most amount of points, that team plays on Championship Sunday. So to get a win to start things off just puts you on the right foot. It almost feels like a loss. It's almost like an eliminator. It feels very tough for you to get back into this.
This is exactly the case. Now only another 41 runs separate Obus Pinar and the Atlanta Fire from victory. And again, you've been sort of stymied by a few extras and a little bit of sloppy play in the field.
Oh, pulled. That's the biggest of the day. Obus Pinar, he's looked so good, and he moves into the 40s with this monstrous 6.
Oh, he pounces all over the short ball. I don't mind the idea of bowling the short ball, trying to take a wicket, but he spanks it. He doesn't get it bouncing high enough. We spoke about that earlier If you're going to bowl a short ball, it needs to be up by the grill of the batter to cause much trouble. Obaspinar is a very tall man. He's around 6'4", and so if that ball is not up by his grill, those are the easiest ones to put away, and he pounces all over it. 6 more, and believe it or not, 6 big blows, and this game will be finished from here.
Just 35 to go get, and Obaspinar has that well within him to get 6 of these, and he's eyeing that 50. It's just 44s come on, just 24 deliveries, has an opportunity to get to 50 on with a 200 strike rate if he were to hit 6 here. Getting a little bit ahead of myself, but
What
again,
to say? Your math skills are fantastic. That is high class.
that one not deemed a wide. No, deemed late. Deemed very, very late. Pinar gave the little shoulder shrug, said, what are you looking at? And umpire says, yeah, you're right. That one's definitely a wide.
Umpire Bandaker giving himself just a little bit of time to make that decision, but then deciding, yeah, this one is going to be outside the line for me. So you're now down to 34 needed from 46 balls. Obaspinar and Aaron Jones have changed the outlook of this match.
Push, but straight to cover. McNally able to do well enough to keep the ball in front of him. Again, for the Atlanta Fire, they're well on their way in this match. And again, with all the firepower, all the names, the Stephen Taylors, Rishi Fonde, Lendl Simmons, Aaron Jones, it's come down to Obaspinar. And that acquisition in the offseason just is so big and has proved to be such a valuable one. Not just with the ball, but with the bat. He's just such a utility player. And if this team were to go on to the finals and win the finals, I would put my money on him as finals MVP. This one beats the outside edge.
Oh, you went all the way to finals MVP, didn't you? It's hard to argue because he excels in every aspect of the game. So you do get the sense that even if he fails in one aspect of his game, whether it be with the ball or the bat, the other two in the field and either with the bat or the ball, you get the sense that he will always excel with.
Big shout given. Pinar misses out on the 50. Just a thin edge down to Mukchand. Dexter Sweeney's picked up the wicket. Is there a twist in this tale? We were counting the Lightning out with just 34 runs to go, but they've taken away the man who's done most of the damage.
Commentator's curse strikes again. We were talking up Obaspinar, deservedly so. He's a spectacular player. But this time, Dexter Sweeney finds the outside edge of Obaspinar's bat, and Unmukhchand swallows up the chance with glee. So good innings by Obaspinar, 44 from 27. Certainly dragged his team all the way toward the cusp of victory, but you get the sense that he would have wanted to have been the one finishing it. Not going to get the chance, but we spoke about this gentleman before, coming out as entertaining as he was behind the stumps. Now we see what he'll be able to do in front of them. Jamar Hamilton.
Jamar Hamilton coming in, and again, was explosive finals weekend in Morrisville in 2022. Hasn't quite found that same explosive day with the bat, but even with that being said, 8 innings, 121 runs, striking it at 126, the high score of 56. So again, someone who comes in with a lot of talent, a lot of pedigree, and an opportunity for him to get some bat on ball, get some batting practice as they head further and deeper into this tournament.
Well, you're scoring at the rate of 7.25, so that's not a concern. The required rate is 4.74, so that's not a concern. The only number that matters on your screen is that number to the right of the number 93, 4. You don't want that number to keep going down, or to keep going up. As long as you keep that range 4 and maybe 5, then you win this game easily if you're the Atlanta Fire. But if you lose wickets in a bunch, then that's where you run the risk of being able to have victory slip out of, or defeat occur from the jaws of victory. And going on the attack now, Unmukhchand, as the slip fielder goes into position.
Dexter Sweeney has been really good, been very, very impressive. Again, we mentioned that opening spot. Who's going to fill it? Sweeney's been very good in filling that role. 13 overs gone, 93 for 4.
वक्त आ गया है लक्ष्मी बासमती राइस को घर लाने का।
लक्ष्मी एक्स्ट्रा लॉन्ग बासमती राइस, इसका हर दाना हो इतना लंबा, पकते हुए महके और प्लेट पे क्या खूब खिले।
हाँ, मेरे घर लाने का।
Well, Chand has got the helmet on. That means Junaid Siddiqui's got ball in hand. Interesting decision here, Brian. He's gone and opted with the spinner, who was bowling well to everyone not named Obis Panar. But with the wicket of Obis Panar, I was just thinking, if you bring in Funny Samadri now, you take one more wicket, this game flips on its head, and you can put so much pressure back on that fire side.
It is impossible for me to argue with that. Junaid Siddiqui bowled well, but he's more of a containing type bowler. And if you put your mind to it as a batter and just tell yourself, I'm not going to get out to this guy, then you can afford to absorb several deliveries because he's not necessarily a strike bowler. But if you have Fani Samadri, who is leading wicket taker in the side, you'd almost want to have to bowl him here. He has 2 overs remaining. Bowl him out, because if you keep him back, there's only 34 runs remaining. If you hold him back for another 2 overs, it will be way too late at that point.
Yeah, I don't think this game is going to come down to runs on the board. There's really no facet in my mind in which that's possible. It's going to be about who's got the wickets. Is it the Fire have them in hand, or the Lightning took them all?
Yep.
And I get Jamar Hamilton likes to go down the ground, and maybe Siddiqui can just turn one away from him, but this isn't a surface that's turning a whole lot. I think with the new bat there, with Aaron Jones having to take a blunt of the pressure, I just think Fani Samadri would have been the right decision. And there you go, quick single taken.
It's impossible to argue with any of that. Does you no good to hold back your strike bowler, at least not your strike bowler, but your leading wicket taker. And Chand obviously knows more cricket than you and me combined, so he probably sees something that we're not seeing. But for me, you really have to have your wicket-taking bowler be the one with the ball in hand now.
Hit straight down the ground. Aaron Jones is a fantastic player, spin, and he sent that one well over us. And the plan to go with Siddiqui doesn't pay off. The gamble doesn't work. And Aaron Jones finds a boundary.
Boy, huge hit right down the ground. The first time it lands is probably 15 or so yards beyond the rope. So that decision to go with Junaid Siddiqui not turning out to be the best one here. 8 runs already from the over with 1 to come, and the deficit now only 26 runs.
And I understand Samadri is great in the death. I just think there's still some runs on the board, you just give him some wiggle room to be aggressive.
Yep.
And there'll be a single to close out the 14th over. So the plan to go with Siddiqui doesn't get the wicket Chand wants. 14 gone, 102 for 4. Well, Chand might have an earpiece in, Brian, because he's heard us been complaining, where's Fani Samadri for an entire over. He says, all right, Owen and Brian, there's Fani Samadri. He's got ball in hand. I think maybe an over too late, but Better late than never is the adage.
My goodness, Fanny Samadri so far 2 overs, 1 for 6. So you're not scoring off of him, and he's taking wickets. This one outside the line of off. Not too far outside the line of off, so precious dot ball to start.
And here we go for Fanny Samhadri. What's the best ball? What is the combination deliveries that you can bowl to deliver a wicket? Pushed, and they'll get through covers for one. And maybe would want to bowl to Jamar Hamilton. Aggressive, likes to go down the ground, likes to take the ball into the leg side. This could be the matchup where the Yorker, where a low full toss that's slower, could be very effective.
The 2 that have gone so far have been at pace. I haven't seen a whole lot of deliveries where he goes pace off. I'm thinking that there is the pace off delivery that we're looking for. And the extent to which he can change speeds, he's a very difficult bowler to score off of. And so this is what you would have needed. And again, it's only 9 runs ago, but this is what we would have needed from the previous over. So again, if there's any chance to get a victory from this game for the Atlanta Lightning, it would have to be with Fanny Samadri bowling the rest of the way.
And I just think, just 9 runs ago, but also that wicket had just fallen.
Yep.
That pressure would have just built upon itself. This one straying down the leg side. Easy single. Samadri, at some point, you just get a sense that Yorker's got to come out. You got to at least attempt it. You picked up your only wicket with it.
Yep.
So you got to live and die for it.
Oh, Aaron Jones, 28 from 36, so he's not setting the world afire with his strike rate, but in this game he does not have to.
No run on offer through mid-wicket. Just one delivery left in this over. Haven't seen that Yorker. Haven't seen that real wicket-taking delivery. We saw the one slower one that beat the outside edge, but for Fanny Samadri, you have to get it. This is why you're in the team. Go bowl your best ball.
I'm calling it, this is the leg stump Yorker.
Dug it in, Brian. Dug it in. Will fetch a single, nearly a run out. Nearly a run out. Another half chance.
Wow.
That's gone begging. A high five to Mark Parchment to close out the 15th over. 105 for 4. Five overs left in this match. I don't think he's going to come to that, Brian. 22 runs left to go for Aaron Jones and Jamar Hamilton as Neve McNally comes in to bowl his final over. Down the leg side will be a wide to start things off. And the Atlanta Lightning only dropped 1 game this season, Brian, and was to this fireside. And this loss is such a huge one. Again, not just because it's a loss in the Super Fours, but it's the first game.
Yep.
It just sets you on the back foot, and now you have to win with such margin, hoping the Fire now lose, hoping everyone has a loss to their name. It's a tough boat now. It's a tough ride ahead for the Lightning in their hopes to make it a championship Sunday.
It is, and what you're going to have to do, it's almost like you have to think past this game. What are we going to do to pull ourselves out of the doldrums, given that essentially, even though this game is not finished yet, you're essentially on track to lose a game that ultimately might have been very winnable. But you didn't perform as well with the bat, and now you're struggling with the ball as well.
No run on offer there, and you can see there's flashes for this Lightning team. You saw with the way McNally's bowled, funny Samhadri and the way he's bowled. Even Dexter Sween has looked good with ball in hand. It was just the batting let them down, especially up top. Unmukchan had a couple of runs scored, a couple of boundaries, and then just really gifted one to Gully.
Yep.
Mark Parchment gone first ball. Saga Martel goes on a sweep to Emilio Alponzo's angling towards the stumps. Mario King similar to shot to Obis Pinar. It was just lack of application up top with the bat and the no ability to accelerate late. And that's what's led to this game kind of just being at the Atlanta Fire show.
So sometimes winning every game or winning almost every game works against you because you don't have necessarily the opportunity to learn from your errors as that ball is fumbled and they get a single. Sometimes losing can be the best teacher. And if you lose, then you have opportunities to go back and clean some things up. But winning consistently, I almost sound like I'm hearing myself say winning is negative. It's not what I hope to say, I'm trying to say. But you don't necessarily have the chance to be as introspective after a win as you might be after a loss. And that might be hurting them here.
Oh, how about this? Aaron Jones. That's huge. That's attacking the cars out there. Justin Gill's giving chase because that one's gone a long, long way. 6 for the Fire.
My goodness, planting that front foot clean as a whistle through the line. This ball is in the slot and it gets the treatment right back over the head of the bowler himself. Boy, Neve McNally would have been looking to take a wicket here, but this one is in the slot and it gets hammered. It's in the sky. The first time it lands, you give Justin Gill some chances to run a ball down for the first time in a few years, probably.
Chopped it on, chopped it on. Could this be? It's a bit too late, Lord knows, but 16 overs are up, and the wicket of Aaron Jones falls right after that 6.
Wow. So that is a switch in the momentum. Anticlimactic end to the innings for Aaron Jones. Waiting to see whether or not we'll see that again because you get the sense that it was a bit of a lazy shot. Didn't necessarily get toward the pitch. That front foot really not moving toward the ball. Look at this. Front foot grounded in the crease. Just a lazy poke at that ball outside off. And it tickles off the inside edge. Takes out leg stump. So again, an anticlimactic end, 114 for 5 after 16.
Well, do we have a twist in the tail, Brian? 13 runs are left, that's it. But Funny Samadhi's got 1 over left. He's going to bowl it now. Jamar Hamilton new to the middle. Nasir Hussain new to the middle.
Funny Samadhi has to come up with his best 6 wicket-taking balls.
Oh. Got one, got one. What do we say? Slower full toss could undo Jamar Hamilton. Right then and there, smiles for Samadhi, a shake of the head for Jamar Hamilton. And the 6th wicket falls in Funny Samadhi's final over.
Oh my goodness. Absolute full and straight, slower through the air, a loopy delivery that dips under the attempted drive by Jamar Hamilton. and disturbs the furniture. I said that Fanny Samaji would have to bowl his best 6 wicket-taking balls. Is it the case that he might not have to bowl 6 balls in this over? What are the chances?
Well, how about this? The Lightning showing that fight we talked about earlier. Again, understanding that this really is a do-or-die game. You're not eliminated,
Yep.
but you just put yourself in a real bad spot. Now, we were talking about 2 brand new bats. At least Jamar Hamilton faced 7 deliveries. Now you have 2 guys, haven't faced a single ball, and they're facing the leading wicket taker in minor league cricket.
Corner Dry, known more as a bowler, but can handle himself with the bat. Can extend the long handle and swing big. This is not that type of situation. All you need is for him to see off Fanny Samaji. That is the name of the game from here. If you have the opportunity to tuck one around the corner and take a single, you do that. If you have the opportunity to sort of ride one down the leg side or just open the face and run it into the offside, those are all legitimate options. You cannot take any risks or take any chances with Fanny Samaji here.
He's someone, Cornet Dry, who has started to add those tickles behind square, the little scoops, the little rundowns into his arsenal. And just defends it right over the top of Samadhi there. Good stuff for Dry, just a straight bat, and Samadhi is wishing he had a couple more inches. Just the hang time was there. He had the elevation on it, just didn't have the couple inches in height that he was looking for.
That is all that is required. Play him with a straight bat the rest of the way. He has 4 more balls. In theory, he can still bowl you out. So just tell yourself, he's not going to bowl me out. I'm going to stay here. I'll be here at the end of this over. So play him with a straight bat and keep it in the V.
Tucked into the leg side. Good work there. Again, this is just the maturity of Hussein and Cornet Dry. Not trying to do anything fancy. Just as the ball is straying down the leg side, I'll tickle it. The ball's on my stumps, push it straight back.
It really is that simple. So you need 11 from the next 21. Fanny Samaji has bowled excellently. 3.3.
Beats the outside edge. Good delivery. Knew that they were ready for the ones full and straight.
Yep.
Pulled the length. Fanny Samaji be looking for 1 more wicket. I think if he can find 1 more, he's going to feel like he's done his job.
Well, the best 2 wicket-taking balls that he can bowl is what he'd be trying to get out of his hand here.
No run on offer. Good delivery outside the off stump. Now that he's got Cornet Dry reaching a bit, I wonder if he does go seam up straight towards the toes.
That would seem to be the order of the day. And I think that might be what you see exactly right now.
Just on a length. Rolled the fingers over it to close out a spell. A good one for Samhadri. 4 overs gone. 11 for 2. 11 runs needed. 17 gone. 116 for 6. McNally is bowled out. Fanny Samhadri has bowled out. And now Dexter Sween is going to get his chance with ball in hand once again to bowl himself out. What's been the pattern? McNally's got a wicket in his final over. Samhadri's got a wicket in his final over. Does Sween follow suit?
Well, he's bowling to Nasser Hussain, who is committed to not getting out here.
Tickled into the leg side. Smart batting. Not trying to go and swing his arms. Just keeping the elbows tight and just letting the hands do all the work.
That really is the formula. Do it in singles. It is the least exciting way of winning a cricket match, but that is what is required here. You don't want the rush of adrenaline and try to hit over the top. What you want is just to simply take advantage of the runs on offer. Look at the acres of space on the leg side. Nobody inside the circle in front of square on the leg side. And you have all the room in the world to score easy runs and on that side of the field.
Because of that, I would bowl full and straight. Let them turn their hands into the leg side. An outside edge will lead to one. Touch unlucky. But I think you highlighted exactly the plan here from Chand. Open up that leg side, dare them to turn their wrist, and just bowl full straight towards middle stump. And again, you got to take a risk somewhere. There's only 9 runs to go get.
Yep.
I think that's the risk I'd be willing to take.
And again, as we say that, they now bring in a fielder to sort of a wide mid-on, straightish mid-wicket position to prevent that single. And it is a simple game at this point.
Really well done. Really well done from Hussein. This is what he brings as a batter. He's not someone he's not no slouch with a bat, but he is not someone you're going to sit there and say he's going to score me 50 quick runs. But he's just someone who, in tough times, can come in, get a single. And that's why we've seen when you lose 3, 4 quick wickets, instead of sending maybe an Obis Bernard, they'll send a Nasser Hussein just to come in, steady the ship, and ready the rights for the middle order.
Well, I think Unmuk Chand is now realizing that, all right, if we just give up singles, it's almost like the water torture, and one way or the other, they're going to bring themselves toward victory. So he's trying to plug the gap. And look at this, whipped away in the deep and goes away for 4. So corner dry against the run of play. They were doing it in singles until he decides this one needs to go a little too straight and whipping it away for 4.
Just take a look. You mentioned it, just too straight, straying down the leg side. And Cornet Dry, he's got the big levers. If he's been given that opportunity to free his hands with no cost to him, he's going to do it in spades. No chance for Sagar Patel out there. And brings it to just 4 more to go for the Atlanta Fire.
So just 4 from 14. And I think you called it. This is not going to go all the way to 20. It may not go past the 18th over.
Down the track, Cornet Dry. That's a stamp of authority on this innings. Down the ground all the way. 6 runs, finishes it off in style. The Atlanta Fire, they beat the Atlanta Lightning in the battle for Atlanta.
Oh my goodness. So the battle for Atlanta goes to the Fire courtesy of this drive by Corner Dry over the top, wide of loft, goes away for 6, landing well clear of the ropes out there to end this game. And Corner Dry, after a few hiccups, has to be said, some unsureness in the middle, but eventually they take control and win it at the end. Stephen Taylor got started, but came and went. 13 from 7. Rishi Pandey, 10 from 10. Aaron Jones steadied the ship, 36 from 41. Lendl Simmons got a beauty from Fantasy Marjorie, 1 from 4. But Obis Pinar, for me, the batter who would have made the difference in this match, 44 from 27. Jamar Hamilton came and went. But Mohamed Nassar Hussain and Corner Dry at the back end steadied the ship long enough to take the Atlanta Fire home.
And if you look at the bowling for the Atlanta Lightning, tough ask for all the bowlers. Funny Samhadri, 4 overs, 11 runs, 2 wickets. That economy rate, take a look at that. Dexter Sween had 33 runs, took 2 wickets as well. A wicket for McNally, a wicket for Pankaj Kumar Rao, but just not enough runs on the board for the Atlanta Lightning to defend. It was the Fire's day today, Bryant. They did it in spades with the ball, with the bat, domination all the way through. Your last thoughts?
The battle for Atlanta goes to the Fire. The Atlanta Lightning are going to feel like they just got sucker punched. After having chosen to bat first, were not able to take things the way that they wanted to, and the Fire come out on top. All is not lost yet, but you get the sense now that they'll be playing from behind. And as you mentioned, it might feel like an elimination. That's exactly how it would feel right now to the Lightning.
Well, that's all she wrote here in Prairie View, Texas. We thank you so much for joining us, not just for this match, but for the match this morning. For myself, Aman Patel, for Brian Walters, our entire production crew, we thank you so much for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you right back here tomorrow.
You're watching the Sunoco Minor League Cricket Championship.